I'm Natalie.
And I'm Hannah. Welcome to the Stride Sisters podcast. On today's episode, for the first time in what feels like forever, we're back together. We get into our normal dates, the news, and some fun facts before diving into Natalie's springtime surprise weekend recap. Plus, I have a little springtime surprise of my own, and you won't want to miss it. So lace up your shoes and step into the magic with us. Yeah, it probably would have been like way more natural if I had hit record way earlier and you'd been like, new background, who dis?
Who dis? You know,
My blank wall.
yes. Blank wall be blank wall. Except you have a better reason why yours is still blank.
Oh my gosh, but like what if, because it's blank, I can do whatever I want. And because I own a house now.
Woo!
What if I painted the wall to look like the Magic Kingdom wall?
That is cool.
Maybe I should just start with a print, but
we start small with a print.
because that might be I mean, that would definitely see something that when we sell the house I'd probably have to paint over, but someday.
Do you think somebody makes like a wallpaper that might look like that? Because I
I
feel like
bet. If not, we're about to get into a new business of designing Disney wallpaper.
yes. Copyright us, except probably
Probably
not an original
licensed,
idea.
yeah.
Yeah, no kidding. Right.
Disney Magic Kingdom purple wallpaper. Okay, so I've definitely found at least one pattern for fabric and a digital paper pattern that you can buy on Etsy. I have yet to find wallpaper though. We'll be investigating that further, not during podcast recording.
True. Happy tax day, everybody. I'm not a tax accountant, but if it hits 4:15 and I don't say anything, it's like if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, doesn't make a sound.
Mm-hmm.
So please go do your taxes if you haven't already. If you're American, I don't know about other countries' tax stuff.
Other countries do the logical thing where the government already knows the answer and they don't put you through this stress.
Yeah, we get to guess the answer. It's pin the tail on the donkey.
And then they tell you you're wrong. But they wait 8 years and charge you interest. Well, if you come to this podcast for tax knowledge, lawn care, any of that, I mean, get excited because maybe more of that is headed your way. But for now, let's head into some Disney. Do you have any training updates you'd like to highlight, Natalie?
Ooh, no.
Or are you ready to just jump in?
No. I have been getting back into things. I solidified my plan forward with Kristen for training for Chicago. So we're going to kick that off on May the 1st, but I'm kind of like almost pre-training ish.
Mm-hmm.
I told pretty much everybody that post springtime surprise, I'm like, I'm going to give myself like 10 business days to recover and then I'll think about running again. It took a good, by Wednesday of me coming home Monday, I was running again. So it's kind of nice to be in free season of I can do what I want. And guess what I want is it usually ends up being 3 runs a week with some strength training mixed in. But it's nice that it's like, I'm not like beholden to like, I didn't have to do a Saturday long run. I went on a nice long walk.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to enjoy that as it comes because, and I'll get into this later, but I was feeling very burnt out going into springtime surprise, but springtime really invigorated me. So that's good. That's really good, actually.
Can you share that energy with me?
Sure.
We'll see, we'll see. I'm hoping the new location, the new views, the new options will invigorate me. I've been so stressed leading up to this move that I just couldn't function. And I know
Felt.
a lot of people use running as a way to de-stress, but I made it like past the threshold. There's like an intermediate level threshold for me where that helps, and then there's a threshold where I basically just stop functioning. So, yay from stepping away from the edge.
Yay.
Also, the weather is just beautiful, so, like, I'm
Yeah.
really excited. We're in the beautiful, like, in between. Today, the high was 73.
Ooh.
It's yeah, no, not a cloud to be seen. Nice breeze. Just oof. Chef's kiss on the weather. So, I will savor that for the probably 1 week that we get before it turns into blazing hot balls. We have 142 days until Disneyland Halloween Half Marathon 2025. Hopefully this year it is not hot as balls there.
I was gonna say, yeah, speaking of that.
Last year it was. So like everyone fingers crossed, knock on wood.
Yeah.
We've got 191 days until Wine and Dine Half Marathon Weekend 2025. Your proof of time deadline is coming up in 2 weeks on May 1st, 2025, when Natalie will be starting her new training plan.
Mhm.
267 days until Marathon Weekend 2026. Your shirt deadline is on June 15th, 2025, and proof of time deadline is July 1st, 2025. We have 289 days until the Disneyland Half Marathon Weekend 2026. Club Run Disney registration is on April 22nd. That's next week. And general registration is on April 29th, 2025. And that is somehow also in 2 weeks. So, math. I should have just said about 2 weeks, I guess, because it's only 2 days later. What is proof of time on a Thursday instead of a Tuesday?
Yeah, what they usually do is they do that on the 1st. Now, since they switched to the earlier proof of time cutoffs, it is just the 1st of that month. So that's
Uh,
why it's been relatively predictable of when it's like 6 months out, but the 1st of that month. So,
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we have 317 days until Princess Half Marathon Weekend 2026. Club Run Disney registration is on June 17th, 2025, and general registration is on June 24th, 2025. We have 366 days until Springtime Surprise Weekend 2026. Wow, more than a year. I said this last week too, but it's a lot of days. Club Run Disney registration is on July 22nd, 2025, and general registration is on July 29th, 2025. So, get ready because you get a break in May, but basically it's registration coming up.
yeah, one a month.
Ready for some Disney news, Natalie?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Let us rip.
Probably the most important piece of news is thank you for not sending hate mail my way for the bracket. And but we have the winner of our bracket challenge. By a like pretty much a pretty landslide. We have Jess Luden won the bracket. She was had the most points. Um Honestly, the fact that she went 7 for 8 of guesses in the first like matchups, um
Kind of
crazy.
wild since there were wild cards in there.
True. True that. And by 7 for 8, I mean 15 for 16.
Let's just say she's looked at a lot of brackets and put a lot of stuff into a spreadsheet, so it gets a little
Yes.
confusing after a while.
Yeah, it really does.
But basically, the scoring was like if you got a matchup correct, you got a point for that. Add those up, whoever has the most points wins.
Yeah, and then I each round that you got more guesses right, I doubled the points. So
Ooh.
round 1 ones, round 2 2 points each, 4, 8, and then nobody guessed correctly what our winner was, but that would have been 16 points.
To be fair, I don't think any of us would have guessed that that would have been our winner either.
Fair.
We
Fair.
surprised ourselves.
Fair point. But our runner up, actually, Jess was pretty much a landslide, but Christine, Runcation Dreaming, you were our runner up. But thank you to everybody who submitted a bracket. I'll make it less confusing to do so in the future because I didn't think about it till later of like, there's not really a good format to submit it. And then also, I going through and scoring, I basically had like hand wrote some of them to Yeah. So we'll figure out a different way for it next year that maybe is a little more user intuitive, scoring intuitive.
Maybe I can rope Ben into like coding something.
Bracket Master. Beautiful. But we talked about Disneyland in the Disneyland Half Marathon weekend, but we got our themes for that.
Yeah, it's so cute.
Oh, they're so good. Whew. I can't. But we have the kids races out at Disneyland are Stitch themed.
Ugh, I wish I was a kid. I love Stitch.
Yoga is Miss Piggy.
The icon, the queen. You know, they had to do something since they're like kicking her out on the East Coast.
She demanded it actually.
Yeah.
But it's at Disneyland Park on Expo Day. 5K is Joy from Inside Out. The 10K is Sorcerer Mickey. The half is It's a Small World. And then the challenge is Dumbo Double Dare.
It's always Dumbo Double Dare, right?
It is. The artwork is like reminiscent of Small World though. It's like such a cute I wouldn't say fully Mary Blair for all of the artwork, but it's really cute and it's really I know the medals are going to be beautiful and I I cannot be tempted. I cannot.
Are you
I
sure?
cannot. Oh, wait, okay. Well, I can be tempted. I just cannot give in to the temptation. That's what I cannot
Uh,
do. I absolutely cannot.
I mean, when they said Sorcerer Mickey, I was just like, well, you already have the costume.
I did, and I wore it for the 10K in 24 at Disneyland. So like I did this actually. I brought this upon every I oh my god, I wore my Miss Piggy outfit for there was the 5K at Disneyland.
Oh my gosh.
So like I guess I got to get a Small World thing up in here. Get a Dumbo out, but yeah, the artwork looks really cute. I'm super excited for the race weekend, and even if I will not be there, I won't be there. I
I'm way
won't.
too busy then.
Yeah, no kidding. Other main piece of news because I feel like almost everything else has been Epic Universe based. Because I know Pass Holder preview tickets went on sale this week, and
Hmm.
they are sale
Yeah.
versus it's not free. Which actually that at first I was a little like oh, but now it makes sense because if you gave pass holders if they like didn't have to pay during this like preview window and then they did have to pay like after opening day, I feel like that would be weird.
Hmm.
Like that precedent would be weird.
Yeah. As like casual stalkers, not really, of the Mam Fam. Not really. We did see them once in Disney. But if you go watch Molly go through Epic, she is crying basically the entire episode. So she was truly moved and immersed. It looks pretty epic. If you want us to talk about Epic more, just let us know.
Yeah, if I have to go plan a trip down there, oh, I guess I will for the sacrifice. No, I'm so excited. I've been trying to stay like relatively spoiler free. Like if pictures come across, I'll scroll through the reel, like or I'll scroll
Hmm.
through the carousel. But I've been resisting the urge to watch like Mammoth Club, Pew 2, like their like recaps, just because I don't know. I'm gonna try to hold off as much as I can until I can experience it in person.
I feel like even because I have not, because I know that Ben and I won't get the chance to go until early 2026, so it'll have been open for a hot minute. I just haven't. I gave up, and I think it's going to be just based on what I saw from Molly's reaction. I think seeing it in person is going to be equally as astounding. Ben made fun of me. He's like, "Is this what it's going to be like going with you?" And I was like, "Probably."
Happens. I know I don't even have like a potential on the books of like when I'll go see that. I don't know.
We're planning to do actually more Universal than Disney when we go for Marathon Weekend.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's been cool to see the coverage so far and just I don't know. I can't wait to continue to hear more about it. Kind of other piece of Disney news this week is the Grand Floridian lobby refurbishment details were announced. The most important part of this is that there will be no gingerbread house at the Grand Flo this Christmas.
Excuse me.
Oh,
No, no, I knew, but
yeah.
I like
Okay, I was like,
for the effect for the audience. Excuse me. What do you mean?
I guess when they're like ripping up the carpet and stuff, they like don't have somewhere to put it.
Yeah, but is it even Christmas if the Grand Flow doesn't have a gingerbread house?
True.
That's so like such. I mean, yes, it is obviously, but it's such a big part. Like now maybe that's why they've been introducing more and more gingerbread other places,
I was
but
just thinking that. It's gonna be the spaceship Earth gingerbread in Communicore Hall is gonna be like
Mhm.
it. Yeah, I'm interested to see like what the refresh because it's been like they've been working on the Grand Flow for a couple years now. The guest rooms have been updated and refreshed. I know that Citricos and Narcoossee's have gone through refreshes and stuff like that. So now it's time to head to the lobby
Mhm.
and get through that refresh itself.
I'm kind of surprised there's nowhere else they could put it though.
I wonder if it's that they don't have somewhere they can put it there that would do it justice
Yeah.
of like the whole shebang of it,
Mhm.
right? Like the beach club usually has its carousel, and to my knowledge, there's no news to the contrary on that. But um, yeah, I don't. I'm like thinking of different open places there. Not that I think they wouldn't be able to do it up to the same
Yeah.
stature because you don't want to put it
Magnitude.
outside.
Yeah, no.
Or
No.
the lobby of the DVC building. I think that would be a tough sell. Um, but that would make things very, very cramped.
Yeah.
But till next year, till 26 for that. Disney fun fact time. Um, on today in 1983, Tokyo Disneyland opened.
Whoa.
Yeah. Fun fact about that, subs fun fact is that it's the first Space Mountain that opened with its park because at both Walt Disney World and at Disneyland, they were later adds on. There were 5 different lands that opened, and, there's an Adventureland, Tomorrowland, World Bazaar, which is kinda like their main street, Westernland, and Fantasyland. So we have some, similar things, Small World and the Fantasyland. Pecos Bill Cafe made it to Westernland. That is so interesting that that made it, across the seas into Japan. Um, Gonna follow up on that one. The Country Bear Jamboree, yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean is an Adventureland, Jungle Cruise, Tiki Room, a Blue Bayou. Interesting. But yeah, it is the 4th theme park that opened of Disney's, which I kind of breaks my brain a little bit to think that because it seems like something that because that is so much later,
Mhm.
but it was the 4th because it was Disneyland in 55, Magic Kingdom in 71, Epcot in 82, and then Tokyo Disneyland in 83.
They were on a roll.
They really were.
But also like Tokyo Disneyland, they like Tokyo fronted like their partnership in Japan.
Oriental
Like,
Land Company,
yeah,
yep.
they fronted most of the costs. So they basically just essentially licensed.
Super cool. Everything I hear about there makes me wanna go so badly, but have not had the chance to yet.
Yeah. My realtor's daughter actually went there while we were maybe like the week before we were closing or something. Okay, so on to our main event.
Dun, dun, dun.
Natalie ran Springtime Surprise.
Surprising.
I was not there. And Natalie has done the almost impossible, honestly, feat of not telling me about it and keeping me kind of like sequestered from
Yeah,
the
it was really
content.
hard.
So I genuinely don't know what she did while she was there, other than like obviously I know that she ran, but like that's kind of it. So what'd you do on arrival day, Natalie? Let's get it started. Spill the tea.
I woke up at the absolute crack of dawn and got to the airport where it was raining. But I took like a super early morning flight out of Omaha, connected through Atlanta, and then got my way down to Florida. And this was a unique trip for me because I was fully on PTO for it. So
Ooh,
the laptop was left behind. It stayed in my house.
epic.
Big moment for me. Big moment. Immediately upon getting there, I made it my plan to go to Blizzard Beach, and I have it added onto my annual pass, so it wasn't even necessarily taking advantage of the water park perk on your first day. But I thought my mom might have been interested in it, but because she had already been there, she actually got there on April the 1st. But we stayed at Saratoga Springs, and I Lucked out once again with an amazing deal on a one-bedroom at Saratoga. It's
It
wild how that happens.
seriously is such a good spot.
Yes, Saratoga stan.
And the one bedrooms, regardless of where you get your one bedroom, are so nice for a race weekend with the full kitchen.
Yes, definitely getting spoiled with that. Um,
A real fridge.
yes, for all the water, all the things. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. So this time we were in the paddock, but we were on the side closest to Congress Park. So during Princess, we were in the carousel, but we were looking at the paddock's bus stop. This
Mhm.
time we were in the paddock and we were looking at the Congress Park bus stop. So this actually ended up being a really good place to be because Congress Park is not too far if you wanted to walk to Disney Springs. I don't think we actually did, but we could have. But there's a nice quiet pool back there in Congress Park, and then you're not really that far from the main building. That's one of the really big strengths I think of Saratoga is that when you are out in like the boonies, quote unquote, like you're not close, but you're not like far
Mhm.
versus the most comparable is Old Key West, and Old Key West if you're in the boonies, you're in the boonies and there's like
Mhm.
no quick way to get around
Yeah.
unless you drive to the front then the hospitality house.
The only exception with Saratoga, though, is if you stay in the tree houses, then you really are in the boonies because you gotta
True.
take 2 buses.
That is true. Oh, that's a dream like type of like big girls trip type thing. That'd be so fun.
Mhm.
Oh, that'd be awesome. But I went to Blizzard Beach because I
Pool rat.
yeah, pool rat forever. Pool rats forever. Since this is my first time going to the water parks since they introduced the arrival day benefit of
Mhm.
being able to go into water parks, and definitely was pretty crowded. I was just there really for vibes though. So anyway, so I was able to find a chair elsewhere, so it was no big deal at all. I found one not really next to the big pool, but one of the ones that was up on kind of like that little upper, like closer to where you get to the chairlifts. And but yeah, I did that. I floated around in the lazy river, took a couple laps in there. That was wonderful. I was just all vibes. They have like some different floaties from what I remember from the
Oh.
last time I visited, and they had like dragons and whatnot. They had like a unicorn. So I know this month is the 30th anniversary of Blizzard Beach opening, so seems like they pulled up the stops for that. But yeah, I didn't even really do a lot of slides. I was there for just vibes. The lazy river, I was in one of those like tubes that have like the plastic part on the bottom where you can sit, but it's like a tube that's a U. So like basically you're just chilling. Like you're like your legs are in the water, like like your bottom half's in the water. It was good. I was chilling.
I like those.
Oh yeah. Took a couple laps around there and just enjoyed life.
The lazy river is so fun. This is a lifeguard anecdote. The lazy river is so fun when you're in it. It is a pain when you're lifeguarding it though. There are so mostly kids, but like also some adults who really underestimate the lazy river and the panic. This isn't funny because like I mean it is in retrospect, but it's not for the people in the time, but like people panic in the lazy river when the current is stronger and they think it's deeper than it is and they just like don't stand up. Anywho,
Yeah.
that was less fun of an anecdote than I thought it was going to be, but
We don't bring up lifeguarding every couple weeks. Do you remember that we did it? Yeah, I'm always watching the guards and whatnot. Like when just a little bit, just out
do
of
you remember practicing spinals? Did you
oh,
ever have to?
I never actually had to do one, but I did have to practice. I do remember practicing them. Oh yeah, I could probably still do one,
Yeah.
probably mostly correctly.
Probably mostly correctly.
I could at least be like if somebody else were the leader,
Oh
the
yeah.
whatever. I could definitely like, and I would know what to do. From Blizzard Beach, I was like because you have to transfer you actually have to get on your bus transfer at Animal Kingdom to get to Blizzard Beach and also to leave. But I remember like looking at the gate. I was like, I could just like walk in and go do something. But it was already by the time I was getting to Blizzard Beach because I had plans that evening. I was like, all right, like if you go into Animal Kingdom, you're not going to Blizzard Beach. So like you're gonna stay there. But the plans that evening were I went to the second annual Elsa and Anna Strong monorail bar crawl.
Ooh.
This was the group that I did a group costume with that I'll talk about later. And that started at, I think, 4 o'clock,
Hmm.
I believe, if not 5 o'clock. We'll get into my confusion there with okay. So,
I'm already laughing and I don't I don't even know
oh,
what's coming, but I know it's something.
oh boy. Okay, so I get to the Polynesian and my friend Jess actually winner of the t-shirt of our bracket challenge. So she's like running late and she's the only person I've like met and like kind of would recognize the face of who's in this group.
Okay.
And so I get to the poly and I see a couple groups and I'm like, "Oh my god, like I don't know which one it is that I'm supposed to meet up with." Because it was just at Trader Sam's outside. And I'm like, "If I walk up to the wrong group and I'm like, "Hi, I'm Natalie. This is," and then they just look at me, I'm going to go home. Like I might get on a plane and go back to Omaha. I get my drink and I kind of just like hover around like at like the standing tables and I'm like trying to look for some because I'm waiting for like either other people to join that I might recognize or like other people for like to see which group it is. And like I message in like the group chat, I'm like, if you see a small looking lost child, just flag me down. And I'm like, I'm like kind of like peering around, like kind of like just waiting to like just indication that like I'm in the right place. Cause like
Send me a sign.
yes, send me a sign, cause like, I'm like I don't, like, give, like, a description of what like, I like, my milk carton ad of, like, what I look like, cause I'm sitting here, like, also, I'm like, okay, like, my profile picture on Instagram is Mr. Natalie and I from our wedding, and I
Mhm.
did make a joke about how I was like, I'm not usually clad in the white dress and, updo.
I'm gonna make you a milk carton ad for these situations, exactly.
I proposed for next year. I was like, "I'm gonna make, like, buttons or something with, like,
Mm,
your Instagram handle and then what your profile picture is." But I don't know how we're gonna do that if somebody changes theirs right before. I don't know. I'll work on it. But, like, this is what this is what I look like. Just because, and now I wouldn't have a problem. In retrospect, it's, like, so silly that I was so nervous about that.
no.
I'm like, it's just and also, like, I'm, like, fresh out of the pool. Like, obviously, I've changed. Like, I have clothes, but I'm, like, no makeup, have my, like, American Cancer Society ball cap on, just tank top. I'm, like, kinda dressed down too because 'cause I'm like, "Yeah, like, it's just something fun, whatever." So, I was just, like now I feel silly for, like, kinda being so, like and I got some crap for that later.
I don't think it's silly.
It was just like, "Well, I've never met any of you before," and I was like I was like, "I hadn't met you
Look,
guys in person, so."
I would say that you have already won by the fact that you have decided that you're going to go meet up with strangers, even if it made you extremely nervous. Because you know what? The first time I ever tried to go to a like open water polo practice as an adult living in Atlanta, I showed up early, but then couldn't get into the pool. So then I was over an hour late to practice and I literally just stood in the hallway and cried until someone from the team came out and saw me in the hallway crying and was like, "Hey, are you maybe here for water polo?" Because I was having a full on panic attack. So you've really like you're crushing it. It's fine.
This is why we're best friends because, like, that is also how I would react. But, a bright side of this is that, some other meetups that I got to have. So, I kind of am like I filter out and then whatever, but I got to see my friend Travis because then he had a little, like, dopey Funko Pop that, he had his kids were, cleaning out their, like, toy they're like yeah, he kinda likes like, "You guys don't really play with Dopey." You're like, "Yeah, no, you can get rid of it." He's like, I know who would use Dopey." So yes, Dopey O'Malley, came home
Oh,
with me. Yeah, I was got good to catch up with him. He wasn't running this weekend, but he was just kind of hanging around, the parks for a couple of days. But that kind of gave me that opportunity. Like I knew that with the next place we were going was the Enchanted Rose at the Grand Floridian, and I like NPC my or non NPC my way over there. And then I'm like looking for the group again, and they ended up being out on like this terrace at the Enchanted Rose. But I run into Landon from the Morning Monorail podcast, who the day prior had just done his marathon riding of Living with the Land. So he wrote it 22 times, open to close. And
dang.
some lore here is that Landon and I have missed each other on trips that have overlapped for 3 years now. Princess in 22, ships passing in the night. But I remember there was another, Halloween time when I came in September with Maz. We overlapped that time. I think we went to the same Not So Scary or something or other like that. Missed each other. Another time, missed each other. Like ships passing in the night so many times. And I just was like walking around looking for my group and I like stopped I like double took. I'm like, Landon? So it was lovely. I talked to him and his new fiance,
Ooh.
but it was very exciting to chat with them. He was like, "Oh my gosh," he's like, "I can't believe like we actually are meeting up." Because I made a couple of jokes. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to just barely miss you again." But it was lovely. They were celebrating their engagement because
Oh,
fresh leaf, but it was great to actually meet Landon and chat with him a little bit. And yeah, he rode Living with the Land 22 times in a day
that's crazy.
to raise money for Second Harvest Food Bank of East Tennessee. So that was a very successful day. But I did end up getting with the group because then Jess had gotten there by that
Mhm.
point, and she's like, "Oh no, we're out on the patio." I'm like, "Uh huh." Or like there was a outdoor area, and
Mhm.
then I joined up with the group.
How many stops did y'all make?
Well, it was at the Polynesian to Grand Flow to Contemporary. Then it was back to the Polynesian, but I didn't join that part. I then was going back to the room.
Okay.
So I guess 2 stops I hit. But it was good. I ordered an espresso martini. That was lovely. I had never actually been into the Enchanted Rose before, I don't think.
Hmm.
But it was great. Got to meet a lot of different people. We basically took over most of the outdoor space. But yeah, it was like a lot of like different people who like I see their names on Instagram and whatnot. And but great to really connect with a lot of people and, just it was great to connect. And then we went to the Contemporary to Steakhouse 71. And it was fun, like everybody piling up into the monorail too, of like and just like kind of getting there. Yeah, it was great. Jess and I shared, and I forget what the drink was called, but it was like basically a big scorpion bowl. Cause she turns, she's like, "Natalie, what are you ordering?" It's like, "I don't know." She's like, "You want to split this?" I'm like, "Yeah, that works." But it was this like giant fish bowl of it was tasty, whatever it was. But there were two people in the group that did that, and people smarter than us who then ordered food too. But it was great. It was just a lot of good way to kick off like the last Run Disney weekend of the season. And usually I don't really drink at all before races. So but I kept joking like, "Oh, purse strings are off a little bit for this weekend in terms of like strictness with bedtime, like strictness with well, not quite strictness with bedtime, let's be real. But like like as long as like I knew I was watching my hydration and whatnot. Because leading up to springtime, I hadn't been doing the super greatest job with the training of it all, with both the weather, just things going on, whatever. Probably the best training that I did was dancing at my best friend's wedding, where I was a groomswoman the weekend before springtime surprise. So, in terms of this, wasn't a weekend that I was really planning to like. I wasn't racing. I was
Mhm.
running. I was not racing. Actually, sidebar back to Jamie's wedding. That was when Jess had committed to doing a dead last start. And in my I'm so happy because I'm at like my best friend's or one of my best friend's weddings and blah blah blah. I was like, wait, should I do it too for the plot? And she messaged back immediately like, yes. Wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, okay. Um like, what did I get? Anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah, it was a wonderful night. Yeah, when a lot of people went back to go to the Poly Beach to watch fireworks, I decided it was time to go to the Magic Kingdom and then get back to Saratoga because then all my stuff was still like at Bell Services.
Oh,
Had
yeah.
Yeah, it was like one of those where wanted to just go get that stuff and then I wanted to get my mom's suitcase because she had stayed at Riverside the night before. So like I was like, it's I don't want it to get too late and then still have to do that. And like they're like, "Do you want to get a ride?" I'm like, I I didn't have as much stuff as
Mhm.
I was like, "I'll be fine." They were surprised though because I brought back the bell cart back to the front because they loaned me one. They're like, "Yo, you didn't have to bring that back." I'm like, "Well, I like things to be where like when I get to use them, I like to bring it back to where it needs to go." Want some extra steps on a Run Disney weekend because I definitely needed more.
So, all right, so you got to bed, hopefully, not too tough after all that. And the next day was Expo Day, right?
It was. So, here is an expo day where I could not get myself out of bed. So, I actually did not quite get to the expo as early as I was anticipating because I saw the like 6:15 alarm, laughed, said no, and rolled over and went back to bed. Because my window for early shopping started at 7:30 because we had the Brooks shoes. And I got there at like 8:10, 8:15, and it was like a ghost town by
Oh.
that point, right? Walked into the Brooks shoes and after and KG and I had the same exact like reaction of um I'm not gonna probably buy shoes. Did we both end up in the sneaker line? You bet we both did. Um So I go in, well, I to take a step back, the day before, we had gotten the announcement of what models would be available. So
Mhm.
there was one
They really
adrenalines.
waited to the last minute on that
They
one.
they so did, and I honestly it's funny. Um, they had one set of adrenalines, which were the Run Disney, like, generic themed, and then the others were all Ghost Maxes. Ghost Max 2s. So
Yeah.
there's a Mickey, a Minnie, and then the Springtime Surprise color block.
Mhm.
So I go in and I try on some shoes, and I'm like, "Okay, like, the adrenalines are the only ones I still run in." I try on the Ghost Maxes. So it was great because I being able to do the shoe buying process because it's very smooth, straightforward. If you don't have to necessarily try on the trial shoes, but you do have to go to that area and get a piece of paper from them where they circle like what they write down what your shoe size is, like regular width or wide. They had two of them were wides, two of them didn't have a wide option. And basically like they're trying to avoid like me going in and or to go to the checkout area, I should say. So you're not just like, I would like a 7, an 8, 9, a 10,
Mhm.
you can try on like sample pairs, which I did because I had never put on Ghost Maxes before or Ghost Max 2s. And I'd also not put on the Adrenaline 24s.
Mhm.
I stuck to the same size, but I was glad I tried them on. It's a really smooth process. You have to have that little piece of paper to enter the shoe box. It was all in a big shoe box in the vendor in the merch room of the merch building. So you get your little slip of paper, your slippy slip, and then you go and then they bring you the shoe boxes. No discounts apply. So you must pay with card or you can't tap your magic band because it's Brooks who you're buying the shoe from. But those big blue bags, those big blue Brooks bags were like everywhere. And
Mhm.
I think that that goes into why it was so calm everywhere, like, it because, the shopping had been open for, like, 45 minutes by the time I got in there, for gold even, because
Mhm.
platinum was half an hour earlier, so people had bought what they had bought, and then, and I think that that also contributed to everything was pretty chill for, all the regular merch, because I think everyone spent all their money on the shoes, even when they weren't planning on it. Because I did buy 2 pairs. I bought the Adrenalines, which I knew I was gonna buy, and then I did buy the Minnie Mouse Ghost Max 2s. I
Are you gonna walk in them?
I
Like
think so.
casual?
I think so. I think they might be my, like, training walk shoes because 'cause I'm trying to resist the urge to, like they're not meant to be put in a museum.
Mhm.
Like, I bought them because I will make myself use them
Mhm.
because I like them. And also, like, I think that also with all the training I have coming up and whatnot, like, will that be a good like dopey walk shoe?
Mhm.
Right? Like when when I have to, as if I train my back to backs actually walking,
Mhm.
but I just usually run them. But in theory, um, I know I need to resist the urge to like they're not meant for a museum. They're meant to be
Mhm.
used. Use the nice things. Use the things you have. Um, but yeah, I thought it was pretty darn smooth. I know that I heard later that's in some cases like it kind of depend on like the merchants that you had.
Mm.
Based on like I don't know, I don't remember if mine like opened the shoebox in front of me to like double check that I was getting women's tens. But
I
some
heard a lot of
people
stories of, like, mixed match
I
shoes.
yes. So it obviously I was part of like the first wave of people because I did the club. So like I can't really obviously I can't speak to what happened later.
Mhm.
Um, I thought it was really smooth, and I heard besides the mixed matches of sizing and whatnot, mostly I've heard that it's been very very smooth.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, the regular merch was it was such a chill experience.
Yeah.
Um, the
I
cut. Oh,
I was a little surprised though. I mean, because like they did then release them for like general sale on the website later, and I was surprised to hear how many people who did have that problem say that they had no like recourse because the shoes were sold out. I was a little bit surprised that Brooks wouldn't have some amount of like shoe reserves or whatever for said problem. If
yeah,
they're a big company, like it's got to be not the first time they've sold a mismatched pair of shoes.
yeah. Because yeah, I guess that everyone was really worried about the reseller problem with like
Mhm.
the club members, which I know that that's a problem. But
They definitely handled that part well by restricting, like,
Mhm. Like,
shoes.
I would have had to have gone back in and been like, "Oh, no, I'm actually a 9," to get a new piece of paper to, like, go do
Mhm.
that, and, that would have been kinda hard to do and not be, like, sniffed out immediately. I'm not saying it
Yeah.
didn't happen where people I'm not saying it didn't happen, I'm sure it did, but they came prepared. People were saying that they brought 26,000 pairs of shoes.
Dang. That is a lot
Yeah.
of shoes.
Yeah, that's a lot of shoes. So and I think anything, like, left over was, like, what put on in the online
Mhm.
inventory, but it's kinda funny because a lot of people were in, like, a panic to, like, "Oh, I can," like but even hours after, I don't think all weekend that they sold out in, like, the Brooks shoe store. I don't think any sizes did. I could correct me if I'm wrong if you are listening to this and we're like, "Well, they actually ran out of women's eights." Like, please correct me if I'm wrong. But at least what I was hearing, I didn't hear that, and I was very pleasantly surprised by that as the experience.
Did you see anyone while you were there? Like
KG and I ran into each other with our big old Brooks shoe bag. Because then that was like kind of so you I guess I didn't specify this. So you checked out in the Brooks shoe box
Yeah.
and then you went into the like merchandise building or the merchandise area.
So
Like,
did you have to go even if you weren't gonna buy shoes, did you have to go through Brooks to get to the other merch?
no.
Okay.
So, well, so you know that room, and this is a good clarification. That room where when you're like waiting to get into the merch, like the
Yeah.
snake room where they have all the lines. So that's where the shoe try on area was on the right-hand side, the like snaky lines where you wait in line. That was on the left-hand side as it usually is. So you could bypass that if you were just like, "Nope, I don't want shoes." You had the opportunity because I'm sure that even like later in the day when they were like sneaking people through that like you probably were standing there waiting, but you could bypass the shoe part altogether.
Mm.
And then the shoes, like if you walk into the room and you have straight in front of you, you have like your lines of merchandise and whatnot. The shoes were more to your right hand side, the big shoe box. It was hard to miss it. So that's a good clarification is that
Mhm.
no, you don't have to necessarily walk through the shoe checkout area because then like that area is like it's in a box. But you do like it's like how you like walk out of a Disney ride into the gift shop. Like
Ah.
you're gonna be near it. You're
Mhm.
going to be near it. You don't necessarily have to go do the shoe stuff, but you're gonna see it in the way
Mhm.
that they route you through. At least for this weekend. I guess I can't really speak to how when marathon weekend comes around, which is the bigger weekend. But, merch stuff was good. Yeah, even getting there, like, there was plenty of I think we all spent our money on the shoes. I even was, like, waiting for, them to open the gates again to get to the rest of the expo building.
Mm.
And, when I was in line because I had the gigantic Brooks shoe bag, um, th there were some people asking questions, and I was answering. They're like, "Oh, yeah, I kinda wonder about the shoes," like, people who, like, weren't club members who, were waiting on their virtual queues to be called. And so I was helping answer some of their questions. I'm like, yeah, it was a really smooth process. This is what like happened. And this is because everybody was very curious about how, like, did you see people with like 18 shoes? You
Mhm.
could have bought one of each style in the, if you wanted, I could have walked out of there with 4 pairs of shoes.
Mhm.
But I couldn't have bought different sizes then.
Mhm.
I mean, okay, if you were a 9.5 in one and then a 10 another, then you can buy what's proper for your size. You just can't buy I couldn't buy 8. I couldn't buy the
Mhm.
9.5s and the 10s. Oh god, that was so much money. Whew, that was so much money. But rest of the expo experience was pretty smooth. Waited in the line. I learned that my proof of time was accepted. So that was exciting. Um, I wasn't sure if that was going to happen. And I knew that based off of my bib number. It's the first time that my name hasn't been on my bib because I was a late print.
Oh.
Obviously, it is on the back of the timing strip,
Mhm.
and but it wasn't like Natalie wasn't at the bottom. Which then, when I was meeting up with people for like, be like, "What's your name?" Like, 'cause it wasn't on there. Picked up my bib. I was like, "Wow, this is kind of crazy." That was the cutoff for proof of time, and I waited in the line for Hercules almost an hour.
Dang.
Hercules and Meg were out. So, like, duh. Like, I knew they would be out again later, but, like, it was again, I wasn't working that day, so I had nothing to do. Like, I had no I mean, okay, the parks are places to be, but, like, I had no places to be. They were kinda chatty. which is good. It was good when we had the interaction, but they were chatty. Where Mr. Incredible was right next to him, and Mr. Incredible was like, "Go." He was quick. But no, it was great. All the number signs were in the bib pickup building, and that was different. I think they actually my very first Run Disney race. That's where they were. Now that just unlocked a memory of mine, and I kind of wonder if that's where they'll be going
Yeah.
forward.
If they need room for the shoes, like there's
Oh, that just unlocks something
because
else
they
though.
have like other designs coming, right?
Yes,
So,
they had 4 like new designs coming soon. If they make a dopey color block, I will never financially recover. I clearly took my time here at the expo this day, and I went over to then the vendor building to go get my shirts. And as I'm, waddling around like the non-playable character I am, I heard a "Hey, Natalie," and it was Greg from Rise and Run,
hi, Greg.
Jeff Galloway booth. He did ask me on your behalf. He's like, "Okay, so when's Hannah coming? Is that her springtime surprise?" I'm like, "No, it is not her
Oh,
surprise." I like chuckled. I was like, "No." She's like, "Oh," I was like, "Yeah, no, she wishes, but she's
no,
got some stuff going."
my surprise is the house.
Yes. So, and then I got to see John, and then I met Greg's wife, his daughter, and then John's wife was around too because their virtual queues were about to be called for the Brooks shoes. So I was chatting with them for a little bit before then they headed on over. I think I saw Bob from afar,
Mm.
but did not actually see Bob. And went around the expo vendor building. I had to buy another charger for my Garmin because I took Mr. Natalie's Bose headphones charger and not my
No.
Garmin charger. And guess what? My Garmin was under 20% when I left. But I'm like, oh, I grabbed the charger. She did not. Um, so it's
Well, when you buy an owner's locker, that extra one can live there.
oh my god, yes, so true. Exactly.
See,
Exactly.
no big deal.
I was just even thinking that it's probably for the best that I have a second Garmin charger, right?
Hmm.
Like I wear this every single day. Like it basically only leaves my body when it needs to charge, and like I'm cleaning it, whatever. So it's probably for the best that I have another charger for it, either which way. But the shirts, I guess this probably sequentially like makes more sense because I did not like try them on at the expo.
Hmm.
Um, but whatever, I'll just talk about it now. I loved the fit of the shirts.
Yay.
And I was very nervous because by the time I registered, because I was a late ad, to Springtime Surprise, I couldn't get a men's medium. It was sold out. So I got a women's large, which I feel like they're usually kind of similar anyway. Um, but I love the fit. It's a scoop neck, not a V neck,
Mm.
and it's less tapered off. Where I'm actually wearing the Springtime 23 shirt right now, where I think just I don't even know why, but I accidentally I think picked the women's women's large for this one because they're the only ones I have with the beads where it kind of like tapers off in a way.
Hmm.
But I really like the fit of the shirts. I've only run in them once, and it
Hmm.
was like a at the end of my other workout type of run, so it wasn't
Hmm.
like a so it didn't chafe from that, but like if I chafed after less than 2 miles, we would have another problem. So can't really talk about the constitution of that quite yet. It's not a full review, but I like them so far. Yeah, I feel like I was a little worried because people said they ran small.
Mm.
But I switched mine actually to women's cuts for marathon weekend
Ooh.
as a result of this. So the women's large. So I really couldn't tell you much of what the difference is between the women's and the men's now because there's no V cut. I'm sure that
Hmm.
there obviously is the fit difference where the sleeves cap off and whatnot. But I was very pleasantly surprised. The logo is a lot bigger on these shirts where like
Oh,
I feel like it like goes down to your belly button. At least the springtime surprise one. Sorry, the 10 miler one.
okay.
But I liked the shirts. It was an orange for the 5K. The 10K looked like it was white, but it's like the softest baby blue.
Oh, okay.
It is baby blue. Didn't really pick up much in pictures, but in person it does. The 10 miler was a blue, and then the challenge was a purple. It was like a lilac-y purple.
Hmm. I liked
Yeah,
that one.
I like them. They will definitely be going in the rotation.
How did you sustain yourself? Did you eat food?
Oh, I sure
Because
did.
I tend to forget and then starve myself at the expo.
Yeah, like, and it wasn't just, like, the cookies. Um, wasn't just the cookies,
I mean,
believe
I
it or
love
not.
those cookies,
Oh, I
so
love them, but, like, I got more sustenance than that. But, the beer cup was, of course, cute, and again, I was off today, so I helped myself to 2 ciders. And I also got myself food. I got a gyro because I
okay.
saw somebody sitting there with the gyro, and I was like, "Oh, that looks so good." It was so much food, and it's relatively inexpensive, and I know that this is probably not news to a lot of you, but it's the first time I've actually stopped for the food, like, when you're leaving on your way out, like, of the vendor building, up there where they have a beer cart and then
Yeah.
the food, and then also they had some bao buns that looked pretty good. I didn't get those, but the gyro was so good.
And this is the, like, expo specific food, not like, you can keep going, and then technically you could also eat inside, like, the ESPN food court thing,
Yes.
but that's different.
Yes, that is different. But yeah, it was great. There was so much food. Like I can't like it was a giant gyro. No, it was like I think $10, maybe.
Dang.
Not
That's,
even.
like, not Disney pricing.
Right. Yeah, it was a ton of food for that. It was very tasty. I was very impressed. Met up with my friend Samantha, met some other people from that extended group as well. Samantha had shirts made for our capture a moment session that Sunday, so she gave me my shirt. That was very very nice of her. My Brooks bag was struggling a little bit by this point. Of like, I had a little break in the bag. Of I just had to like tie another knot in it, so it was fine. But believe it or not, this was my only trip to the expo.
Whoa.
I did not go back.
Wild. I guess
Right.
is this, like, the I guess it's not. I was gonna say, is this the first time you haven't had to meet another person there and that's why? Or
I just one of those where I didn't feel like I had to go back. Cuz well,
and you I guess returned whatever you returned, you
so yeah, I did not return to the expo for the first time in my personal Run Disney history.
wild.
Wild. But yep, I went back to my hotel cuz I'm like I need to drop off this shoe bag desperately. We had a dinner reservation at Morimoto at Disney Springs. So I went on over there. Morimoto is so 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 good. Beyond good. I just like I can't speak highly enough about it. It's so dang good. Um, we got some sushi to start and some lettuce wraps
Oh, yum.
because then my mom and I met back up there, and both super good. And then I actually went a little bit blander, so to speak. At this point, I got orange chicken, which like I don't know, hadn't had like Chinese food in a while, so it's like
Ooh,
that sounds really good. And my mom got, I believe, a stir fry or a pad thai.
ooh.
Because last time I had gotten like the lobster like noodle bowl, which was so good. But my orange chicken was super duper good. Yeah, Morimoto, definitely make your way over there if you can, because it's very, 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 very good. Because my mom, I don't even know where she went after that, but she wasn't running the races. So I was like kind of like a time to fly type of thing. But I don't think I went to bed till almost 9 p.m. 8:45, 9 p.m. that
That's
night.
really late for you.
That is very late for me.
You're basically only up that late when I am that late.
And you know my whole like, oh no rules, like this is like whatever, like type of thing. She woke up for the next morning and was like,
Regrets.
"Ugh." Regrets. Whenever I fall asleep with wet hair, and like maybe even like the slightest bit trickles in my ear is like, hey now, stop, go away, bad, like it, like I like basically like not overreact, like because I'm not like personally reacting to it, but like I get like
Oh,
um yeah, I have like the number of ear infections I've gotten as an adult who doesn't swim really much often anymore. Wild. Honestly, my first dopey was an ear infection from sleeping with wet hair.
that's wild. I sleep
Yeah.
with my hair wet like all the time. I know it's not good for me, but I do it.
I don't know. I don't know. I wish I knew why my ears are so sensitive to that, but I don't know if it's the way I sleep and it just trickles in, but, so I woke up and I was like, "Ugh." Like, 'cause it just, like, even just, like, my ear felt like,
Okay. Mm.
yeah, not pleasant. Don't worry, we have a happy ending to that eventually. But, my costume for this day, I was Cusco from Emperor's New Groove, one of the easier costumes I've ever done. I ordered things off of Amazon. I ordered the headpiece and, like, the neck piece off of Amazon, and I had other red clothing.
Nice.
So, we had, like, functional, but, like, easy this trip because remember, I got a bib 6 weeks prior, and that probably honestly wouldn't have made me plan any earlier to be real. At the end of a long season of costuming, I probably would not have even planned that much well before. Got up for the 5K, got on a bus, I think by, like, 3:30. It was, it's always nice because at Saratoga, they have the little, like, stuff there in the morning for you,
Mhm.
but I had basically already planned, I'm like, "Alright, I am getting myself a coffee. I'm getting a Joffrey's cold brew." They
Mm.
did not have that at the tent.
No.
So to say I was a suffering artist is no, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. But I was like, "Oh no," because they're like, "We have hot coffee." I'm like, "It's already warm this
Yeah.
morning. It's already nice and toasty." And yeah, no, hot coffee was not happening. So I was like, "All right, well, here we are. No biggie." And had a lot of good characters out. They had Groot out, and obviously this 5K was Groot themed. And the line was the longest line I have ever seen for a like parking lot character. They had to cut it. I don't even remember when they cut it, but it went like past the bleachers, like almost to, when you're walking into like, do you see the start or like where only runners can go where they check your bib, make sure you're a runner? It was all the way back that far, like past like the bleachers, whatever. Like obviously it didn't go like all the way, it didn't wrap all the way that way, but it was wild. Because, most times like I feel like with Marvel characters, they're a little squirrelier. So the like resounding like thought was that Groot wasn't going to be out any of the mornings besides that morning. So it was like,
Okay.
well, it's the Groot race. I might as well get Groot. I did not wait in that line. Frozone was also out. I did wait for Edna Mode, and there was a Baymax photo op that was just a giant inflatable Baymax that I took a picture in front of.
Love
But
Baymax.
yes, um, so that was about what I did, and then it was about time to go into the corrals, and yeah, it was got a good 3, 2, 1 go out of it. I learned that, again, like I'm usually miss like test your costume pieces, like don't do dumb things, this like gold cardboardy thing I had. Okay, so first of all, I hadn't put the headpiece on my head until that morning, and learned very quickly I needed bobby pins. No biggie. Put on bobby pins, and the neck piece did chafe my neck like just a smidge. Um, which I could like. By the way, it was like flapping around. I was like, yeah, that's not good. It was fine. Like it was just like when I like got out of the shower later, I was like, oh, that's like a little red mark from the neck piece for Cusco. So I would probably maybe like reinforce that with some Glad, do something about it. But it was our lovely, lovely 5K course. And my strategy for this one was, I bet if I finish faster, I can go get in the Groot line. It won't be that bad.
That seems like solid logic, actually.
I still waited an hour, but
No.
it was worth it though. It was an awesome picture. I mean, until then I learned he was going to be out the rest of the week, but that's okay. That's okay. I didn't know that at the time and I would have been upset with myself if I had missed it.
Mhm.
So, cuz Groot doesn't come out often, right? He even at the Disneyland race in January, I think that they had to I think he was an on-course character and there's something about them having to cut the line with that early because the line was so long, but I was like, "Okay, I am bound and determined to get this photo." So, I did. But it was the race was great. It was again one of the first times. I mean, I did stop for a couple pictures. I stopped for the spaceship Earth picture on the way out. Kind of just it was like a nice chill run of sorts. But I was like, if I finish, because then it was one of those, if you finish by a certain time and the buses haven't restarted, I'm like, well, it's not like I could be on a bus right now anyway.
Mhm.
So I got to the finish line. It's probably one of the only times I've like pretty much run through the 5K.
Yeah.
Um, Rarely, if ever. I stopped for a few things as I'm like looking at my or I'm looking at my phone, but waited an hour for Groot. It was great though. That morning I got to meet up with I got to and it's funny because like there's certain people I talk to all the time online. And then I forget that I haven't met them in person yet.
Mhm.
And I got to talk to actually I saw for the first time Tiff running to the next right thing at the expo, and then I saw her again this morning. She was dressed like Rocket. It was an awesome costume. And then Guru, who I also again I've like talked to, I think like for the last at least year and a half, if not 2 years, like a lot online, and got to meet both of them in person. So that was wonderful that morning before the races. And it was just a vibe. It was just so like fun and like laid back. It's just in a way that like this springtime felt different and in the best way
Mhm.
of just the laid back nature of everything. So I go back to my resort after finishing a lovely, lovely 5K. I got a lot of actually compliments on the Cusco costume where people were like quoting things to me. I'm like, yes, good. It was like, because then there was, we were doing the electric slide in front of the DJ booth before the race. And I like missed a step or something like that. Like, oh, sorry, we threw off your groove. Like, I am the new groove. Um, but yeah, basically anytime someone made a comment while I was running, I was like, "Wrong lever! Why do we even have that lever?" But it was good. It was a good and it was pretty easy for me. It was a lot of pieces I already have. I've worn at other points this season, so 10 out of 10 recommend. Ease of costume, like, like low effort, good effect off of
Mhm.
it. But later that day, I went to Hollywood Studios and I went on Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror. That was
Nice.
wonderful. My mom and I stopped at the art stand or like one of the like caricature drawing stands like
Mhm.
on Sunset Boulevard and got pictures of her dogs
Aw.
done. Because then we did my childhood dogs. Actually, my parents like first like dog together, but we got pictures done of them. They turned out so cute. The artist did such a good job. My mom's one puppy, Callie, has the most ridiculous eyelashes in the world.
Aw.
They literally are like Betty Boop Diva eyelashes. And the way that she like drew them, so stinking cute. Took a couple hours to get done. We did have to get a little correction done on Remy, my mom's other dog, because like his hair was a lot like because the pictures we gave his hair looked grayer than he's more black, so they had to get his hair darkened, and oh my god, he looked so precious. And it was so funny how she was able to, because you airdrop them some pictures. We gave them multiple pictures of each dog, and like they're able to capture the personalities even off of like not knowing the dog.
No.
um Even like my boy Binksy, one of my childhood dogs, like he had a crooked nose and like she didn't make it like super crooked in the picture, but it's like a little crooked. Oh my god. They were so well done. So definitely if you're looking for a keepsake like that, um, definitely recommend. They did an amazing job. Our artist did an amazing job. And they really like worked with us to try to like what we were trying to get, like, like pictures, whatnot. Like, okay, like you need like well lit ones. So like my mom's like my parents like first dog, we needed to like get better pictures of his ears because like his ears were kind of like blending in, so they wanted to do justice to the boy. But yeah, they're so stinking cute. Like I couldn't help but just smile and like giggle whenever I saw them, because then we had to take them back to the resort. So like definitely 10 out of 10 recommend. You should get Sushi and Pep done.
We'll have to do a little photo shoot because getting photos of Pep is kind of difficult, similar to Remy because she is very dark, so she does tend to blend into things.
Yeah, well, in that way it was good because Like, you could probably get, like, a side profile of, like, show the ears, because actually it was my mom's dog Rufus was harder to get.
No.
He was the but, like, you could get, like, that show the ears, but then, like, pretty pictures of her face too, because she's beautiful.
Mm.
Pep.
I got plenty of photos of sushi. Sushi's much easier to photograph.
You should definitely recommend, because I don't remember exactly what my mom paid for it, but it wasn't too bad to get 5 dogs done. Because originally it was the 4 dogs, and she's like, "I have to do Rufus too," for
Mm.
their, my parents' first dog together. Like, yeah. So we were like, it was like a spree of like texting like my younger brother, like, "Can you look in this spot for like who's at home?" Like, and my grandma of like, do you have any pictures?" So then they we were able to because we only had like one, like mix match some pictures together to get that for them. But we went to Mama Melrose again.
So good. Was it as good? Please tell me it was lived up to the hype.
So my mom would say no.
No.
I thought, I mean, my food was it. So I am Catholic and it was a Friday in Lent. So I had to be meat free. I got in margarita pizza, which was actually pretty good. Also it was one of those points where like I was so like starving by this point that like you annihilate the bread in
Mhm.
front of you when it gets put in front of you.
Yeah.
Um, but that was good. My mom said the sauce was a little less good this time.
Oh,
um
okay.
her sauce, I don't know. I mean, because I couldn't like compare necessarily, because I didn't get the chicken parm again, because
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. So it was pretty good. It was a, bye bye Mama Melrose type of thing. We did do the Muppets together, and this must be like, we must have last time, like, when I was a kid,
Mm.
we must have just watched the pre-show, thought that was the show, and left. Because
Really?
okay, so when I saw it for the first time again as an adult in like, I think it would have been 21, 22 when Maz and I did that. I remember going like, I don't remember sitting on chairs. And my mom had the exact same reaction, because she hadn't done Muppets in a really long time.
Mhm.
Because she's like, I don't really remember. Like, she's like, because we get into the pre-show room where they have all the screens and whatever, and like the car, and she's like, I thought this was the show. And I don't know if like, I don't know if we actually left or we just don't remember going into the theater to sit in there, but we had the same exact, like mine was a couple years earlier, reaction of, "Oh," and she enjoyed it. So I've had now my last Muppet. RIP in peace. Yeah, there's no way I'm getting back down there before
The
it happens.
Muppets make me mildly nauseous, not gonna lie.
Really? The
Yeah.
3D does?
Yeah.
Does Phil Her Magic do that to you?
I don't know. I don't know when the last time I saw it was, to be honest. So,
Ooh, have you seen it since they added the Coco scene in?
I don't think so.
Ah, it's good.
I don't know. That specific form of the 3D just really messes with my eyeballs and makes my
Mm.
head hurt, and then that leads to the nausea. So,
Ugh.
unknown.
I said to my friend Adam, I'm like, the day that you want to do a race again, I will be the Waldorf Tier Statler, the old men. They make me laugh so much. But yeah, it was a pretty full showing. It's kind of sad to know we're less than 2 months away from RIP and pieces to the Muppets. But I was fading hard by this point. We did do Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Or yes, we
Okay.
did. The wait wasn't too bad for that. But yeah, I was fading. um, so it was time to go back and take a pool. I was like, yeah, let's go sit by the pool, knowing full well this was going to be a nap. So basically, like, we get to the pool, and like, as soon as I am like on a chair, I'm asleep for like 2 hours.
Nice.
I only break my no nap rule for certain types of naps, and this was a nap worth taking, because I felt like I entered another dimension. I woke up unclear what state I was in. I woke up like where, because my dreams were so vivid. I slept for 2 hours on that beach chair or on that lawn chair at
Yeah.
the Congress Park pool.
You sleep on beach chairs, your mom sleeps on buses. It's all fine.
It's all good. Yeah, and my mom was like, because then she came back with me. She was like also laying by the pool, and like she was on the phone. She's like, "Yeah, you were out." Like, yeah, I kind of knew I was going to be out. And then I wake up and I'm like, well, I might as well just take this back to my bed. So I did actually get in the pool for, I like splashed around it like a little bit, but I'm like, yeah, no, it's time to go to bed. And I had made sure I washed my hair that morning because of my aforementioned issues.
Hmm.
Um, and I went back to the room. I think I had already started. Yeah, I definitely had already started my laundry. I went to bed and I woke up the next morning fresh as a daisy. No, nothing in my ear. Like my ear didn't hurt at all. Like I like slept it off. I got a full 8 hours of sleep after my 2 hour nap, not including
Dang.
it. After I got a full 8 hours of sleep.
That's hard to do.
Yeah, no, I was out. I was out. But it was one of those again, like the sleep deprivation of the last prior days, the tire, just starting off with a bang of like a good hot 4 hours of sleep, like just even before my travel. Yeah, no, I was out like a light.
So tell us about 10K Day. You were part of a group costume.
Oh, yes, I was.
Okay, we discussed this costume a lot. It did not turn out at all how we talked about.
Yes, there was like the creative A plus version, and then there was what I could actually execute of it. I got the point across though.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
So I was Sir Hiss from Robin Hood, the snake. And yes, Hannah had a lot of very creative ideas of how to create a barrel. And it was like, and okay, so I did. We had talked about having like a snake like tongue of like a little
Mhm.
party thing. So I did find one that morning. I look at it and I'm like, I am not going to hold this in my mouth. I'm not doing it. Like, and I left it in the room. It
Aw.
was like a New Year's type of like
Mhm.
party, like to like the thing you go like do like
It's not a kazoo, but it has the rollout bit and it makes the same sound
yeah.
as a kazoo, kinda.
'Cause I found that in my, basement because we have a New Year's little, like, party hat kit that we got for New Year's in 22 and never got opened, and we don't yes, I had a hat, a fedora hat, I had a cape, and I had a snake shirt. That was about where we were at. And, but it was a big group Robin Hood costume, and I got because we were meeting for a picture at 3:45 and back to the dead last start thing,
Is it back to? Did you ever mention it?
I did. I
Okay.
did. I did bring up because then Jess and I had went during the bar crawl, we're talking about like doing the dead last start. And
Okay.
when she actually I'll let her tell this story when we have her on to talk DL all things DLS. I'll tell her Corral story. But we had been talking about it. But yeah, I was dead last starting and so I could have waited longer, but we had our group costume picture at 3:45. So I was trying to or I wanted to be part of that.
Mhm.
And that was great. We had Run Disney Media pull us aside, which was cool. It was always cool. It's always cool when they're like, "Hey, can we like get your group real quick?" Like, yeah, of course you can. But it was great. It was great to a lot of the people were also at the bar crawl, so see people on race morning and people deciding, like where what we were gonna do. Jess missed the picture because her bus was like running super late. But yeah, after that, I was just like, okay, I guess it's time to just vibe because we did a big Incredibles picture together too, and just sat or stood around talking. So that was wonderful. And yeah, that was I went over to the Rise and Run area, talked to Greg a little bit, and kind of milled around. There were a lot of really, really good costumes this day. I think my favorite was the big group of Pink Pegasus Club. So our coach, Run Fit Mama, was part of that big group and then they were playing Pink Pony Club, and my husband is like low key obsessed with Chapel Roan. I don't know how he stumbled. It's like when I go for my Run Disney weekends, he finds some sort of like YouTube like obsession. And
Mhm.
I don't remember if it was Marathon Weekend or Wine and Dine this year, where he's like, have you ever watched Chapel Roan's Lollapalooza set from last year? I'm like, no. He's like, it is so. I think it was Marathon Weekend.
Your husband is such a interesting mishmash of things. Such a character.
Mr. Natalie truly is a character, but I'm pretty sure it was Marathon Weekend. I don't think it
Just
was for Prince.
the juxtaposition, reverence, maybe, of Bob against a Lollapalooza set of Chapel Roan.
Oh, he doesn't just watch that. He's watched them all at this point. Like he's like Lala's her best one, but he's watched the Bonnaroo. He's watched them all. We're Chapel Roan stands in this household. And it started with us like the plankton version of Pink Pony Club, and then like actually it's like, "Oh yeah, no, like her version's actually pretty good too." Yeah, the original, not just somebody AI Plankton from SpongeBob. Yeah, no, he's an interesting fella. He's an interesting fella who has tolerated a lot of Grey's Anatomy as well. And yeah, so we the Pink Pony Club. I'm like kind of like filming. I'm like, dang, me, Mr. Natalie would have loved this. And it was definitely a vibe. So definitely it was a little nerve wracking. Met up with Jess finally, and then some other new friends are new to me. And this is the farthest back I have started since my first Run Disney race. Obviously, because you can't start any farther
Yeah,
back than starting. I guess to explain, dead last start is when you start with the balloon ladies.
on purpose.
Again, I'm gonna kind of save this for the recap and like talking it out with Jess and like her experience, but it was so much fun. It was so fun. I am definitely doing it again.
I'm so proud of you guys. It's like the only thing I will say, because I was not there to experience it, but from what I have heard from both you and Jess, if you have ever been scared of the balloon ladies, this is the ultimate way to like get over that and understand that they are not something to be scared of.
Oh yeah. And that you like if you like know you can keep the pace, you'll be fine.
Hmm.
If you know that like you know if you're kind of like in that like sometimes they're 16 minutes, sometimes they're 17 minutes, maybe don't. But if you're in the spot where like you can keep the pace, whatever, it is so fun. And again, this was the farthest back I've started, so in a long time. So in terms of like the pre-show with Carissa and John and them getting a little bit more unhinged, I got to hear a lot more of that. It was so funny. I was just dying laughing, like, just as they got, like, slightly more, like, unhinged, with it, and I mean that politely in, like, the funny way
Hmm.
of, like, as they just got funnier and funnier. Again, if I haven't made it clear, it was hot. Springtime was hot, as it usually is. It wasn't, like I'd say humidity-wise, we lucked out. I didn't feel like it was that humid, like, I was sweaty Betty, all my pictures, sweat, lots of hot sweat, whatever. But I wouldn't say that like of springtimes past that I've done where it's been extremely humid too,
Yeah,
where I've just been like coated in sweat. But anyway, I did 4 character stops having started dead last, including Hades.
which is a long line.
Hades was a long line, but, in the Hades line is where I lost my entire buffer on the balloon ladies because they were coming over I saw them coming over the hill, and it was like I luckily met up with some friends, Samantha and Heidi, and they were in line already, and it was just like kind of like "All right, everybody, we're all friends here, and we're all gonna take mass pictures, or we're, snap and go, snap and go, snap and go." Because something I forgot to mention on 5K day is that they had yellow Powerade, but they had the 32 ouncers
Where?
only for yellow at the like, as you're leaving the chute.
Oh,
Like, your water that or
yeah,
you get your metal, your Powerade,
yeah.
your whatever. So, I grabbed one of those every day.
Dang, those things are huge. That's what I buy when I'm sick.
Yes, same, same. So, yeah, we bought the I grabbed them every day. It became my best friend, but so they were handy because I think that they had so many left over from other like races this
Mhm.
season. They wanted to get rid of them, so I'm like, thank you. But it was only the yellow flavor that had the bigger ones. Came around to the finish because then I did take the Spaceship Earth shot, and it was awesome to have a cape because capes are fun.
Mm.
And Edna Mode was not there to yell at me to about no.
No capes.
So I had the cape, pretty cool shot in front of Spaceship Earth. But yeah, because then it was funny because the other people, we kind of leapfrogged each other where I would stop for a character picture and then they would pass and then I would pass them back. And then like they also DLS'd and, we kept leapfrogging each other. But then Jess and I caught back up to Jess and we were just both talking about how fun it was. How the whole experience was, but I'm gonna cut myself off there. I know I want to keep talking about it, because I want to like save some juice for that when we talk with Jess. But fun time. Later then I heard as I'm like coming around from like the finisher shoot, I have my stuff and I hear the Robin Hood theme song and I'm like, wait a minute. And I see that like the group is like, and I'm on my way to like the staging area and I see that the group is on the screen. So I just like zoom over there. Group made the big screen, had like like the people interviewing down on the floor, but that was fun. And then they played Pink Pony Club again. So that was fun. I
Epic
was
lineup.
dancing. Yes, such a good lineup. The Robin Hood theme song, like interviews about Robin Hood, and then we did that, and then I went on back to my resort. I that day, I don't know why, like, because I felt like I actually still like got back. Well, it was interesting this whole experience because like obviously we start a lot later.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a good time. Had Puppet Runner cheer for me across the finish line because I saw him around the Rise and Run area, and he was like, oh, "Sir Hiss." He's like, Robin Hood's one of my favorite movies. And it was kind of funny, like the number of people were like, oh, Robin Hood costume. Because I'm like, I don't know who's going to see me as a snake in a fedora and be like, "Ooh, I know who that is."
Disney fans.
Yeah, exactly, Disney people. And it was funny because, like, that was pieces of the costume my very first ever costume, which was, the brave little tailor Mickey and the 5K for Dopey in 23. So it was like, I kept that fedora for a reason,
Mhm.
and I was able to use it again. The cape I've used again since, but again, no Edna mode to yell at me. But went back, eventually got myself over to Hollywood Studios. Don't really think I did a whole lot besides eat, if I'm being real.
That's how all of Princess felt when we were there. I feel like all we did was race and eat.
Yeah, I know there was like a thought to get into, I think, the Toy Story Mania line, and then I was like, oh, I think that one of the sides was down, so it was like a super long wait.
Mm.
Which it happens, all it happens. And yeah, went to Sci-Fi for dinner.
I've never eaten there. I've only ever seen the photos and watched the review videos.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
we'll have to go. It's great in there. Not my again, not my normal like pre-breakfast thing, like pre like race thing to do, right? Usually it's some sort of pasta, but it was a good change of pace. I do want to lodge a formal complaint. Um, the fried pickles are gone.
Well, that's on the boycott list then. I can't go somewhere that's taken away fried pickles.
They're gone.
Rude.
They're gone. That is duh. No, it was okay. Our food was good. Let me like, take a step out of being annoying for a second. But no, our food was good. But they took the fried pickles off the menu sometime in the last couple of months because then we asked our server, we're like, wait, what happened to the fried pickles? I think that they, I guess, had some supply things with like sometimes they got spears, sometimes they got chips, and like
Mm.
inconsistencies with that. But we got onion rings, so those were good. And yeah, that was
Now I want an onion ring.
yeah, their onion rings are
Oh,
so good.
like a nice, crispy,
Ooh,
ideal ones where the onion doesn't separate from the shell.
oh, oh man, I could go for an onion ring right now. But yeah, it was very, very tasty. I got the like their like specialty burger was like a Reuben burger.
Mm.
So I love myself a good Reuben, so I got that. Very, very good. Um, but yeah, after that it was Betty Bye time. I could have sworn I did something in the park besides that, but no thoughts, just vibes, I guess. I'm trying to think because I didn't see any of the shows. I know I didn't go back into Galaxy's Edge. Besides the race, I don't know if I did it all. Something okay, something we did before.
I'm sure if you just like, we could just like skip to 10 miler day and somewhere in the middle it will come to you and you'll be like, oh my gosh.
That is so true. One thing that I did forget that I did, that was Muppet Day. That was Muppet Day. We didn't do Muppet on the on Mount Morose Day. That was Muppet Day because I
Oh,
have a
okay.
picture of Statler and Waldorf.
I mean, it is right there.
Exactly. We're like, oh well, we have some time to go because we were trying to check in early, and they're like, oh, we are behind. Like, okay, but we sat and did trivia as well. There was a cast member sitting there doing trivia, and also the AC was popping. Something earlier that day that I did forget to bring up that I did was went to the Grand Floridian to see the eggs, the egg display. So they have lots of lovely painted eggs around.
If you're like, why eggs? Because
Easter.
Easter.
Yes. They also have a little like hut, kind of like reminiscent of the gingerbread house that they do around Christmas time, but had lots of really cool eggs. They also had eggs over at the Yacht and Beach Club. So, but I don't think I saw them this day. I think I saw them a different day. I'm just scrolling through my photographs of said eggs, and yeah, they were really cool. There was a Stitch egg. I'm surprised. And this is one of those things where it was really hard for me to not like just send you that
Yeah.
immediately.
Will there be a massive like photo drop in our group album now that we've recorded?
Yes, actually. So so yeah, I did do both sets. In fact, I got to Epcot at some point. I swear this day I hadn't had any alcohol, so I don't know why I can't remember anything. Now I remember. We blipped into Epcot, took the monorail because we were at the Grand Floridian, and got ice cream from Swirled Showcase. Um, I got the peanut butter and jelly ice cream, which was very good. It wasn't too strong of either flavor, but very tasty. And then we went to the yacht club, and then we went over to Hollywood Studios. I'm just dying laughing because I just no thoughts, just vibes. It's just the entirety of can you tell I like was a little sleep deprived in places.
That is the
But
essence of a Disney. I'm going to say just a Disney trip, period. Not even a run Disney trip. That's just the essence of a Disney trip right there.
that is so true. That's so true. But especially I feel like this one among or like worse than most, but going to 10 miler day. So it was like wow, I get to retire my early AF alarms for a while. This is nice. But got out of the room, got over to today. I was Jane from Tarzan and realized I think when I was like on my way down to Florida, like, like Alaska, it's like, wow, this hat is going to be like hot on my head. And oh, hot it was. I had headwear for every race this weekend, the hot weekend of the year, if you will. But, it's okay. We survived. I made the controversial for me decision to forego the hydration vest today.
Oh, that
I
is
brought it
controversial.
because I brought my newer vest with me, and like that vest is tighter too. So I was like, like also the chafing incident from Princess. I'm like, I'm gonna try to just go with the water that I bring.
Yeah, but Princess, was your shirt sleeveless? Because for Princess, your shirt was sleeveless, and that's
Oh,
why you
this was
chafed.
sleeveless.
Okay.
This was sleeveless. So yeah, between that, there was just a couple. There was like one too many factors with it.
Hmm.
Um, and I ended up being pretty fine with relying on course hydration. Plus, again, I had a water bottle with me, or I had like I know I like made sure I had like an extra one to like nurse both in the corrals and then like
Hmm.
on the course too. So yeah, no, I was in a sleeveless top that I had not run in before.
Natalie, what are you doing?
I was a wild child this weekend. I don't know what to tell you. Like, like
Not going to the expo multiple times, wearing rogue clothing,
I
staying
know,
up late. Who are
I
you?
know, I know. I was a wild child. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay, like to be fair, like with the Rogue clothing, like it is a brand that I have like gotten a shirt from before and like but at the same time, yeah, I didn't really have time for a run test on it. I aspired to. I just didn't have time for said run before in like that 48 hours between me getting home from Ohio from the wedding I stood in and leaving. It was a little more than 48. But yeah, no, it just did not happen. So yeah, I really didn't want to make a double chase city, like double trouble, double jeopardy. So yeah, we kicked off the 10 miler and it was lovely as always. Was back in my B corral, so I was off by like 5:10 in the morning. Um, took some cute pictures, sweated my little patootie off. I stopped for Wreck It Ralph because then I wasn't sure because there was a little bit of a temptation to DLS that day too.
Hmm. You just had that much fun.
I had that. I really truly did. But I'm like, no. If my longest run since Princess hadn't been the 10K the day before, maybe I would have. But because then again, I'm trying to not talk about it. I'm trying to save. But anyway, the first character stop I went for, Wreck-It Ralph was out on the boardwalk, so that was cool. I very much appreciated the water stopping directly after that.
Hmm.
Meaning it wasn't like along the path to Hollywood Studios. That was lovely. Still was nice and snuggly up in there. I asked, I our friend Samantha. So that path gets nice and cozy, lots of people, but trying to maneuver around people and I was looking for like an out. I'm like kind of basically like have my little like because I will point. I try to be really good about both when I have my intervals, count like raising my hand, doing a countdown. I'll either do it verbally or I do it with my fingers when I'm out of breath, which by later points of a marathon is all the time. But I've tried to do really, really cognizant of pointing where I'm going. And I saw like a nice open in the leftmost part of the path, like avenue. I got in front of my friend Samantha. And she then sent a message in our like one group chat and that I didn't see for a couple miles. Then I ran back into her later of just had the most lovely runner etiquette like interaction with. She's like even the point and all like the like 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 she's like it was lovely. But got into Hollywood Studios. That was fantastic. They had a lot of good characters out in the race. Um, and it's always great to run through Hollywood Studios. Took my last like picture of like Muppet Court. I took a picture, a selfie with Muppet Courtyard because sad, and I guess I just wanted to be on the sad wagon. But they had the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda, Grogu, out in Galaxy's Edge for a meet and greet. I
Aw.
didn't stop for that one. The line was like super long, and I had nothing to worry about. I might have been the last wave of B, but like I was in B, so I had nothing to worry about. But I was like, and I know that like that's gonna become one of my like quest characters. So that's fine. It is what it is. But they had a lot of good characters out. I saw my menace, Sully, when I entered Hollywood Studios. And I beef with Sully because of what he does in his crimes in Disney Dreamlight Valley when he grunts a lot, and I'm just trying to have a good day. And took a picture with a frowny, like a thumbs down. Sent that to my husband because he laughs every single time that he hears Sully doing his grunting nonsense, and because I just viscerally react and I go, "What the? Stop that!" But got out of Hollywood Studios, and then it was out onto the open roads. And let me tell you, this course of most courses, just the open, wide roads, chef's kiss. Get away from me, everybody. No, I'm kidding. But like, like basically just having a lot of elbow room to run. And then they do a good job with entertainment as well, with having lots of characters out on the roadway. I had Samantha catch back up to me and she told me, she's like, "Did you see my message in the group chat?" I'm like, "No." And she's like, "No, no." She's like, "It was lovely runner etiquette you had there." um, but yep, got did the whole running thing. And did get it in Hollywood Studios. I did get the Tower of Terror bellhops. Wasn't selfie mode, it was like actual like photo pass with them. But yeah, there were lots of good photos out. But the ones I was most interested were a little bit later in the race. So Perry the platypus. I did get a picture with Perry the platypus. I was shocked there was basically no line. I'm like, do you people have no taste?
My coworker
uh,
Sid is gonna be, oh my gosh, he's gonna be floored. He loves Perry.
Oh my, he's awesome. So no, I think it was just Perry. I don't think he was swapping Phineas and Ferb because I had gotten the list of like who was going to be out where. And then the next most interesting one for me was obviously Remy the rat. Duh, duh. That was a like at all costs stop. I mean, I had no costs to worry about. But I stopped for the rat. He was swapping a meal, which I didn't realize because I was just when somebody tells you that Remy's at this spot, um they they if they only see Remy, they only see Remy. But he was swapping a meal.
Did you get Remy?
I got Remy. I got Remy. I was very excited to get Remy. Like rat, 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 rat. My new challenge quest character is Carl.
From Up?
Yes.
Okay. Not your boss.
Yeah, so that's why. That is a standing challenge for me is Carl from Up because of my boss Carl. His name Carl, and he says that to me every time because this weekend, and I don't think I've brought up his challenges for me yet, was because it was all hero themed. He wanted a villain, so I sent him the Hades picture.
Nice.
He's like, "You want a villain? I'll give you a villain." And then also it was a test of, "Have you seen this movie? Do you recognize my costume?" Uh, but I'd heard Russell would be out from Up, and I was like, okay, a lot of times he swaps with Carl. Today was not one of those days. Because I asked him, I'm like, where's Carl? So my picture is me with my hands up, like, what are we gonna do? But Carl was on the mile marker, so I was able to send that to my boss, and I was like, Carl was not out today. I'm sorry to tell you. So that is a standing forever challenge from my bosses. You see Carl, you get Carl. And it's funny because I have not been at a race since I started this job where Carl has been out. which is hilarious. I know he was out last year, at least I know for yoga, if not on the course during springtime, because it was the Adventures Out There 10K.
Mhm.
I wasn't there though, so doesn't count. So that's my new quest is Carl. I realized at some point in this whole thing that I've only done 10 miles as a distance at Disney. So in 22,
Mhm.
during springtime, and in 23. And this was my third 10 miler. And I realized at some point that I was pretty sure my PR for the distance was
Oh my
2:23. And then I realized I'm like, huh, I think I can get there.
no, Natalie.
So by the end of the race, I'm cooking. Because I get my picture in front of all like the topiaries for flower and garden, whatever. And then I'm like, I got time. I got time. Because I wasn't sure if it was 2:23 or 2:20. The 2:20, I was like, that's gonna be that's gonna be close. Um, and then I'm like whipping it into the finish. Give Jeff Galloway a high five on my way, and I'm like, I think this is about to be a PR. Yeah. So I capped off my Run Disney season by accidentally PRing in the 10-mile distance, having had no really thought I was actually going to do that. I was kind of like hoofing it into the 10K timing mat just because that was like to prove a point. That's just how I am sometimes, where it's just like, let's just see if I can get to the 10K timing mat by this point. Yeah, no, I accidentally PR'd my 10-mile distance.
I'm gonna stop believing you when you say it's an accident at this rate.
Okay, well, the thing is, like, you never want to go out, and, like, especially springtime. Springtime's hot. I didn't have my hydration vest. I fueled appropriately. But yeah, no, it was an accident. And I like, so again, speaking of fueling, Run Fit Mama, Kristen had a little like cheer stop, a little bit past the mile marker in the Epcot like bus, like where if you were going back to your resort, like the bus drop off area.
Mhm.
And I stopped there for like a couple minutes to chat. So like, yes, it was an accident because, like, if I were really like an attempt for things, like I probably wouldn't have done that. But like, it was kind of one of those, like, yeah, let's just see what happens. Because then I was like checking it. I was like checking, like in the parking lot, like after I finished, I was like, so like, was that question mark exclamation point? And it accidentally was. So, yes, I accidentally PR'd my 10-mile distance. Which, that not bad for a couple of character stops, stopping to talk to my coach, lollygagging really, going into this and knowing the Chicago Marathon's on the horizon and like it's gonna be like back into training season again. It's like, oh shoot, I'm burnt out now. Like, is this gonna be a long enough break that I take in April to like, and now I'm sitting here like, my body retained a lot of its training. I guess I trained very hard for the other races this season. B, I felt really good. Like, I felt really good, like, obviously, like, when I say PR attempt, I wasn't I wasn't running, I wouldn't say in my final form. Obviously, I stopped for characters. Like, I wasn't running exactly in my final form of, like, what like, if you're like, "Okay, you have this type of a POT, and then this is your beat you're in beat corral," like, what you would expect, like, if I, like, went out and did, like, a 10-miler at home, I probably would, like, drop, like, a good amount of time even off that, but I'm still proud of it nonetheless. Because again, I felt good. I retained a lot of that fitness throughout
Mhm.
the spring, and, like, I felt very invigorated.
Mhm.
I feel very invigorated going into, like, the next step of training where I feel like some of that burnout melted away. Um, we'll see. But I feel like a lot of that melted away and I felt good. And it was a little emotional to finish because it was funny because Carissa was announcing because a lot of the talk of the perfect season and the perfect, was, but it was specifically speaking about people who've done all 112.7 miles at Walt Disney World this season. And that was around when I was coming around the bend to the finish line.
Aw.
So that was so, so special to hear, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Because there's obviously if you did coast to coast, like with your perfect season, I think that's 157.5. But it was like but specifically talking about like the journey that I took. I also got a lot of compliments on the course of they're like, "Wow, you're the first Jane I've seen today." Like, "Oh, homie is underrated. She is underrated." Um, And yeah, that it's funny because, like, Jane is one where, like, it's, like, somewhat and, like, I talked about how my costumes were, like, definitely easy this weekend because again, I had to buy the new shirt. Okay, so Jane I had to assemble a lot of pieces for, but, like, I had, like, a yellow skirt, and, like, I don't know, Jane is in a way, like, a little bit sentimental to, like, my, like, marathon journey. So Tarzan was the first movie I ever saw in theaters.
I have absolutely no clue what that is. I'm gonna have to ask my mom.
I would not know unless my mom told me. I have maybe vague memories of that, but, like, and when I yeah, but and then my very first marathon, that was, Jane was out at the pre-race area, like, marathon day. I think that was the only picture I took pre-race was with Jane. Jane, I took a picture with this marathon. Like, so it's kind of like it's like Jane and I, like, see each other. So, like, I guess there was a little bit of sentimentality of, like, her and, like, also, like, Phil Collins drops, like, a fire banger of a soundtrack, you know? Um but yeah, lots to work off of there. But yeah, I crossed the finish line, got a little bit teary. I was like, wow, like we did it. We did went to go collect my challenge medal and collect my snack box. Obviously, go directly to gear check, go get my beer cup because I have things to do. And in the beer line, do I come across Samantha and then her friend Wendy, and they had a sign for me that was like, "Go Natalie, like Stride Sisters podcast," and that's when I cried. That's when I cried.
We love you
Oh,
guys.
I know, it was so special. And like they're like they as most times were like I'm either really good about like keeping in contact with people on the phone during a race or really bad. And I'm gonna say I lean towards really bad actually. I lean towards because sometimes I'm just in the zone where like and then I just stop responding. And it was one of those where like they saw me come across the finish line. I hadn't a clue. But I mean, I was on the announcer side versus not the bleachers side. But I'm vibing in the parking lot, dancing around, having a good time. Probably being a little bit cringe if I'm being real, like dancing with like my beer cup and just it was fun. It was a lot of looking around. Like I did all the characters in the reunion lot. That day. I had my little sign, which I'm like holding on to for dear life, my little Go Natalie Stride Sisters podcast sign. I'm like, it came home with me. Um, and get the finisher photos. And yeah, you just kind of like don't want to go in a way. Like, it's like, well, like, because once I leave, like, it's done. Like, we're done here. So, but like all good things must kind of come to an end. But got on the bus, headed back to Saratoga for a well, delightful shower. But yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy in a way. Finally got my number sign pictures because I actually missed those at the expo, but I also missed the 10-mile one again. So it's like a pattern because that one had a super long line. The 19.3 didn't, but I was just kind of wandering a little bit. But anyway, headed back to Saratoga. And again, this is one of these things where you might just call BS on me that it was an accident, but like I accidentally did all four parks this day. And
The biggest of eye rolls.
because I am a menace to society.
Off course. Not a menace on course.
Yes, I am not an on-course menace. So I we had lunch at Kona Cafe, which was lovely, and I got the Hawaiian Reuben. I guess I really just had a taste for Reubens this trip, and that was very very tasty, as it always. Actually, I hadn't gotten that before, but the sandwiches there are really good too. Like you can get like your hot food, like everything's good at Kona Cafe. Definitely a 10 out of 10 recommend. And then the bread rolls hit different.
Mm.
So good. Um, we had capture your moment that day at Magic Kingdom. And by we, I mean Samantha, Heidi, and I. I headed over to Magic Kingdom to a little earlier than that. I went to go ride Buzz. Oh, actually, okay. It's like things are like popping back into my head. So I went before the Kona reservation to Magic Kingdom because I think my mom was at Hollywood Studios that day because that's when she went to go pick that was when they had to like go fix because she like looked the more she looked at the picture of her dog Remy had to go darken his hair a little bit. That was the day she went to go do that, and then I went to Magic Kingdom first because I was a woman on a mission. and I brought back my marathon ears because I brought back all my medals,
Mhm.
and I brought them back to be embroidered. You know how long embroidering took? 20 minutes
Good job.
total. Like, they had already called back, like, "Hey, like, we're gonna have these." So, um, that was fantastic. I've always kinda given the advice of bring them back later. If you know you have another trip, if marathon weekend is, you're not coming back for quite a while, then yeah, do them during marathon weekend. But you should or bring them if you know you're coming back for Princess, for springtime, even for Wine and Dine, bring your ears back, and it's super quick to embroider them. Something that because I was debating what I was gonna put on them, um, but they actually don't let you put dates on there. Um, Even though the ears themselves are dated, and
Mhm.
they called up to like a manager to ask if they could maybe make an exception, whatever. No. Because I wanted to put 24, 25 perfect season on them,
Mhm.
but I just put Natalie 48.6 dopey challenge, which is what I put on my ear. Oh, dopey finisher. Ooh, so they are different because I put dopey challenge on
The first pair?
the other one on the pair I just did.
Oh.
I'm
Mhm.
looking right now at my first pair.
Mhm.
So there I was dopey finisher. This I did dopey challenge. So they're different. But the white stitching looks really good against the navy on the cap.
Nice.
But I had all my metal, and we divided and conquered this between Samantha, Heidi, and I because I was like quick little Energizer bunny to get myself together. So I had the wine and dine medals. We all brought our own challenge medals. We around with us, and I had the wine and dine medals and the springtime ones because I had my medal cases from Two Part Princesses. So I felt like I feel fine with like bringing more because I
Mhm.
have these handy dandy nifty things to walk around with. And then I also brought my marathon medal because during marathon weekend I had each character. I took pictures with each character and their medal. The characters I missed, Mickey and Minnie. I still don't have Minnie, but I did get Mickey at Mickey's in the Town Square Theater.
Success.
Yes.
Touchdown.
So he was very excited. Mickey was very excited. He was like kind of like petting Minnie. He was like, oh, like drawing little hearts on Minnie. But yeah, I got pictures of that. I also made sure that I got some pictures kind of walking around with my springtime medals because I knew that with Capture a Moment, it was going to be kind of more about like all of them. So I wanted to get some like individual medal photos with that. I had an amazing photo pass photographer at the flagpole near the Walt and Minnie statue. And because obviously, like, I get my ears back, I'm wearing them everywhere. Like, I'm wearing the embroidered ears everywhere. And because it was so fast that I got them back that quickly. And he like puts them like where at one point like I had two of the medals around my neck, and then Roy had one and Minnie had one. It was super cute. And then he like had this his stand, and he put my ears on there, and it's a really cool shot. And then the fireworks went off behind because it was the castle show. Amazing. He was fantastic. I made sure I dropped him a cast compliment, but I did see him again later as well. But he like really kind of took his time, like really like with all the groups that he had. But yeah, he was awesome. Um, he's like, "Oh, you're not here for Metal Monday tomorrow?" I'm like, "Well, tomorrow's my go home day." So he's like, "I'll do this all day tomorrow for Metal Monday." But then we went to Kona, and then I came back to the Magic Kingdom. And then I watched Festival of Fantasy, and my photographer friend, so he's walking around with the first visit button. And or like it's like basically a big like handheld thing, and like it looks like the first visit button. And I'm sitting on a bench with other pass holders
Mhm.
as we were just chit chatting. And because I sat down on like the concrete curb and it's hot, and literally felt like I was burning my butt through my pants. And
Dang.
yeah. I'm like, I don't need to find out. I don't need to have a burn on my butt. And so like I'm chatting with them a little bit, and because I'm like, oh, is anybody sitting there? Like, no, no, you can totally. He's like, we were like worried about you down there, because he's like in the hot sun, and he like gives like we're like he's like, are you first time visitor? And they go, no. He's like, here you go anyway, and I took again hilarious photos because I just cannot stop laughing holding the first visit button after like with my dopey challenge tank top on, like just laughing like having just like talked. He's like, you can take it too. Like he was so funny. Definitely not my first visit. After that, it was time for Capture Your Moment. And I met this time because this is a little different than when I did it in January. I met over in the Christmas or near the Christmas shop near the ticketing window,
Mhm.
over in Liberty Square. Um, I changed into my matching shirt, and then we proceeded on to take our pictures. We had a bonus. I got to see Holly, Heidi's sister, who she was actually headed for a lightning lane in Epcot, but she's like, "Oh, I hadn't gotten to see you yet," so gave some stickers out for the podcast. She's like, "Ah, I finally got a sticker." And we started our capture moment session. Wendy was kind of hanging around because she had the sign that they had made for Heidi, Natalie, and Samantha, and we all kind of took turns with that. And then with our medals on and our ears on, and then we went over to the hub grass, and there was somebody else doing it who had done, I think it's 157.5. Now that I think about it, because she was next to us, but like you wouldn't have known that like anybody was near us with how they were very beautifully crafting or like positioning and staging things, but took us like a while to get ourselves all set up with all the medals. And like I like earlier that day as I was kind of wandering around Magic Kingdom was like watching people and like it being like almost like a two-man operation just to like organize the medals. Like two photo pass like they were helping both like do like the photo pass because a lot of people had I had 18 or we had 18. If you Yeah, we took pictures. I really love how a lot of them turned out. Um they were and it's a happy, nice memory to have. And it was emotional seeing all the medals together, like all like there. Um it's like wow, like how each individual weekend felt and then just the sum total of them. And yeah, it was a very special moment. And I'm very happy Heidi and Samantha included me in that because I obviously was a late ad because I was not going to springtime as of the 60-day booking window, but that was very, very kind of them to include me. Um,
Yay, run Disney
yeah.
friends.
Yes, 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 yes. I guess if I kind of got them into this whole mess, I'm like, yeah, Dopey's a great idea. Because it was Samantha's first marathon. That's how she did Dopey. So like, yeah, no, it's a good idea. She's like, uh, but yeah, that was wonderful. And did another round on Buzz, and by that point, they had run out of the Galactic Hero sticker, and it was they basically had the happily ever after sticker, but it was happily ever, and then they put the Galactic Hero, like a different Galactic Hero sticker on top of that button. That was even funnier. That was honestly iconic. So I was perfectly happy to do that. Uh, then I went over to Epcot because my friend Adam was in town. So I go to Epcot and I absolutely like, I had like basically lightning in a bottle of a good experience of like on the monorail. My monorails all worked out. Like, where like I walked right up to the monorail when I got to, I left Magic Kingdom. I walked right up to like there and it was just leaving or just about to leave to the get to the one to the, from the TTC to Epcot. Basically, again, lightning in a bottle. Couldn't have been luckier with how all that worked out. And then like met up with Adam because then he like had to like kind of basically leave by 5:30, and was able to chit chat with him a little bit, and then walked over because I think he had a dining reservation at the boardwalk or something. So his car was there because he was only there for a little bit, and then was like, oh, I guess I'll go to Animal Kingdom now for fun, for vibes, and had myself quite the little time in Animal Kingdom. By this point, I'm regretting still having the medals with me. I kind of wish I had pit stopped back, but whatever. But I go directly to Nomad Lounge as I do, and
What'd you
uh, s-
have? What'd you have? What'd you have?
so at this point, I am so thirsty. Um, I ratioed myself with water. I had obviously I got a Kungaloosh because I always get that when I go there, but I had like I like downed my water twice before I even got like halfway through my beer. I ratioed myself. I was that thirsty because something because I really just had beer and the churros because I had had lunch. I had had lunch at Kona not that long prior, so I had beer and then churros. But I'm sitting and chatting with somebody, and like, take a picture with my like dopey challenge ears and then like my beer, and I was like, oh, this is so good. But I'm chatting with somebody, and just talking about the Run Disney experience and whatnot because they had done the half in January and that was their first ever Run Disney race, and they're like so excited, and they tried to sign up for Dopey, but kind of didn't work out for this year. I was like, yeah, I think it was one of those where it was actually a couple hours later that they remembered it was registration day. And I was like, well, to be fair, it sold out in a little over an hour this year. So it was brutal. It was brutal. But I kind of like talked about charity options and whatnot, and I was like, and I give him like a podcast sticker. I'm like, well, yeah, we talk a lot around Disney, whatever. And then he tells me, he's like, well, I'm an Imagineer. He gives me a little Mickey Mouse pin off of his bag. He's like, I like to give this
Oh,
to special people who are storytellers. And he's like, and you like embody that. And I'm like getting chills just talking about it. I was sitting just chit chatting, like just with an Imagineer at Nomad Lounge. Dreams come true at Nomad Lounge,
I oh my god, I wasn't there and I'm gonna cry.
right?
Oh my god.
Yeah. I like so if you're listening, Sebastian, hi. But it was such like a magical, like I just got like full body chills talking about it. Like, and it was just, I talk to everybody, first of all. Like sometimes I have quiet days, but like especially at No Bad Lounge, like talk to everyone. I don't know, like sit there and get chit chat. But yeah, I was just talking about like my experience, like how Run Disney's changed my life in a lot of ways. And yeah, that was
Oh,
what a special way to like,
what a way to end a season.
oh my God, right? Like,
What a way to end our first like Run Disney season hosting a podcast.
oh
And
my God, yeah. And so this was especially, I'm like, I can't tell Hannah until I tell
oh
her on
my
the podcast. I
god.
cannot tell her. I can't tell her.
I'm
But
legitimately crying and my nose is running.
yeah. But yeah, I like wander out of Nomad Lounge and I'm like, wow, like what a special experience. And I have about like less than an hour left till the park closes. Because it was open till 8 that day, so that was awesome. And so I go to Cali River Rapids because like my mom's dog's named Cali River Rapids, so like gotta do it. And it was hot. So I was like, please, please. I was like, don't like drench me, but like I'm open, I'm ready. Did get pretty wet there. And it's always the after splash of it where you get a little soaked. But then I skedaddle my way over to Everest and I don't even go through single rider. I just go through the regular line. And then because as a single rider, and then I wait for the front and had myself a lovely little time there and then kind of, meander my way out of Animal Kingdom. And I walked past Dino Land and I mean, the Cementosaurus is gone and I knew that it was gone, but it was still really weird to see. Like there's basically like nothing left, or not nothing, but barely anything left you could see from old Dino Land. Like up. Like it's crazy. I mean, it's good that they're making progress, but it's just weird to see it come down like in real time of yeah, that's really weird. So, my day's not over yet because I am a raccoon. And I go back to Saratoga because then I'm like, okay, if I have the opportunity to change my shirt, I'm going to change my shirt because this is wet now and then drop off my medals.
Mhm.
There I drop off my medals and then I get to um
Hollywood.
I get to Hollywood Studios, yes. Um and that because I want to go see Fantasmic. I did like go back because I was thinking about getting in line for Slinky Dog Dash. And because the second showing of Fantasmic is after park close, because park closes at 9:30, and then this at 10 o'clock is the second showing. So I was like, as long as I'm in the park by 9:30, I'm good. But again, I had another like lightning in a bottle, like lucky buses where like I didn't really wait that long even to get on a bus at Saratoga. I like went back to I was like looking at the line for Slinky Dog Dash. I'm like, oh, that'd be so good to have a night ride. But I'm like, no, like you wanna go see Fantasmic.
Mhm.
It was one of the emptiest showings I have ever sat through
Wow.
of Fantasmic. I mean, to be fair, it was a Sunday night, a second showing on a Sunday night, and like Run Disney. As we say often, like Run Disney weekends, like yes, great for the benefit of us, but it's mostly to fill the parks when it's a little more empty.
Mhm.
Um, and I literally was like, they didn't even really well, because I actually don't know for sure if they always sell like the dining package tickets for like dining package for the second show because I was in that area and like I didn't like hustle my way into there. They were just pointing me into the area where the dining package, like usually it's like center and like
Mhm.
closer to the center. I don't know if they even because when I last did the dining package for Fantasmic, it was like you booked it with first show.
Mhm.
Um, so I don't actually know if they sold them for the second show. I know that I was in that area though. And it was another one of those like I was like second row and like didn't get there that early, like actually kind of like got there kind of late and I, ugly cried during Fantasmic. When they especially, what Fantasmic means to, my first dopey experience was all the Mickeys in Fantasmic was my own personal, I guess, love letter to Fantasmic. So, like, as we go from Brave Little Tailor Mickey, I'm getting a little teary. And as they have Steamboat Willie come out, then I'm gone. Like, I just cry. And I wasn't expecting really to. I mean, like, I get a little emo, but like I just crying. Sorcerer Mickey at the end, and then some the Mickey that then goes in the bottom, like some imagination, huh? But nope, weeping again. People near me are probably like, who is this freak who sat at the end of my row? Like, but it meant a lot, like to have done the perfect season, have done done that, and then this was the capstone to that of um that year. It was a perfect year where I didn't do Wine and Dine in 22, but I did in 23. So I did all the races in Walt Disney World in 23. Did all the Run Disney races in 23, actually, not just Walt Disney World because Disneyland wasn't back yet. And knowing what that meant to like the beginning of, my first dopey in that journey. And then, now being here and at the end of a perfect season that I, you know, capping it off, last Run Disney race of my 20s, most likely, because I probably am not doing Wine and Diner Halloween, but like I'm gonna put that asterisk on there because we all know that things happen. Um things happen, especially when we're talking to me. But it was, yeah, no, I ugly cried at Fantasmic. And yeah, felt like it was quite the way. I did think, because I knew a lot of people were going to Jelly Rolls that night. I didn't have it in me to do it because Jelly Rolls will be closing soon. So I didn't have it in me. It was time to go. It was time to go night for Natalie. But I had done quite a bit in the parks that day, visiting all four of them accidentally. And that was that day. Then we get to the next day. Um
Which you're probably thinking like, Natalie, you said it was go home day. Shouldn't the whole thing be get on a plane and go home? No.
No, it never is. So here's the thing, everybody. So I sometimes decide I'm gonna be an adult about a situation, and I'm gonna be like, I'm not gonna take the 7 p.m. flight in. I'm gonna be an adult. I'm gonna like leave Florida at a reasonable time, get home in time for dinner. Like to even see Mr. Natalie before bed, right? Like for marathon weekend, I planned things this way where I think my flight was at like 1-ish. I think I was going to be home by like 5 or 6. I ended up with a bonus day at Disney that time. So this time, I'm like, I just need to pack up the room, which I had done a pretty good job. Like I did pack light-ish this time. It was really just all the other stuff. Like the clothes wise, I had one space bag of clothes. Like I was very proud of myself for that. I only brought one sports bra like to run in because I had laundry, so I washed my clothes. I was proud of myself for that. Packing up didn't take, but I'm like, I'm just gonna kind of hang out by the pool. Then, until it's like checkout time, go back, take a really quick shower, and then, really be on my way to the airport because I have a 2 o'clock flight. And there's not a cloud in the sky. Not a cloud in the sky. Just lay at my mom's hanging out with me. I don't remember what park she was gonna go to that day. I think Magic Kingdom. It was good to go this day, so that's why. Um, Not a cloud in the sky. I'm like, yeah, no, my flight's not getting delayed out of here. Hour and a half later, I get the message from Delta that your flight's delayed. Are you okay? And then I'm sitting there, I'm like, okay, looking, and it's one of those things where my layover wasn't super long. In the first place, it was like an hour and a half. So, like, when it delayed, like an hour and a half, it was like, well, you're not going to make that flight. You're not going to make your layover. You're not going to make your connection. So, I rebooked myself. But I rebooked myself and I'm like, okay, so there's like this flight option, there's that one. I'm like, I'm just taking the 7 o'clock flight. I'm just taking it. I'm taking it. You know what? This is what I do. This is what I get for trying to be an adult is that, Mickey says, no, no, Natalie, come back, hurry back. Okay.
I don't think that's what he meant, but okay.
Yeah, no, he's like, well, because I wasn't going to go to the parks at all that day. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go shower. I'm going to Magic Kingdom. But I still don't even know how to explain what happened with my travel plans because I like rebook myself. Actually, okay, so I rebook myself and then that set of flights delays. I'm like, And it's one of those where I think I would have had, like, 35 minutes between flights,
Mhm.
and not no bueno in Atlanta. That's where I was connecting through.
I think we had a massive storm system.
Yes. Yes, and it was coming, yeah, you guys did have the massive storms. Because then I, like, get a message from my boss that morning, and he's just like, "Oh, yeah, I hear there's a lot of storms over Atlanta. Where are you connecting?" I'm like, "Atlanta." And so then I'm like, "All right, okay." And I'm trying to, like, go back and forth with Delta because then I'm trying to figure out a different option of flights because I picked the last ones when I originally rebooked because I'm like, "All right, this is a gift. I'm gonna go to the parks." And then I'm like, "Okay, like, whatever. I can maybe get on one of those earlier flights then that, like, had other options, got me home, like, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, whatever." And I'm, like, waiting for a call back from Delta. I'm, like, messaging them trying to figure what's going on, and, like, because then there are no options. There are no options but waiting till the next day. And, this is the one thing where the laptop-free aspect of things is not good because I did not have a laptop, and I was working the next day. I'm trying to rebook myself, like, just, like, another option because then all of them are gone. It's just flights the next day. I'm like, "What?"
Mhm.
Like, I I still don't know what the heck happened. And then, like,
You and Delta have not been getting along lately.
yeah, no, like, Bestie and I are fighting a little. So, like, if we can, like, maybe, like, get that together, that would be great. And I'm like, again, I still don't even really know how to, like, describe what happened because it was bizarre. Because then, like, then I'm trying to message them because it's telling me, like, "Oh, you're going from MCO to ATL," but it's not showing me the other leg of my trip back to Omaha. I'm like, "Am I being dumped in Atlanta?" Like, I luckily, Hannah just got a
Yeah,
house.
I was like, if you were, you had somewhere to stay.
Yeah, because like, one part it was weather. I think the weather system, but then because it was a mechanical delay because when I'm messaging the guy on the Delta app because I'm waiting for a callback, it's taking forever, which a lot of people obviously a lot of traffic goes through Atlanta, like, I understand why it took a long
Tis
time.
indeed busy.
And there's a lot of people with flight plans disrupted. And, like, he's like, "Oh, no, it's late arriving, equipment or machinery," I think I forget what they, exactly, but he's like, basically, it's like that's, like, one of the things where you get reimbursed for or they'll put you in a hotel, whatever, but I'm like, bet. Because usually if they can blame it on weather, they blame it on weather. And, finally and then, like, I'm trying to move my mirrors, and then, like, that didn't go through, and, like, I'm getting my money, and I'm like, "You know what? I'm over this." I'm kind of, like, over this. At one point, I went from Magic Kingdom to then to Epcot. Did get to sample, the, Dip Trio flight. That was really good. As I'm trying to resolve this, because this is literally all I'm doing, and then it starts downpouring.
No.
It starts downpouring, and then, I was like and then I'm, like, looking for separate flights. Um, TLDR, I ended up rebooking myself on American, and I went through Chicago to go home because I wanted to go home. At a certain point, I was, like, kind of like a and I don't mean and I, like and it this didn't sour my trip, whatever, but I was my mom can tell you, I was very frustrated trying because, like, I still could like, again, I can't really explain what was happening with the flights of, like, why am I only booked on, like, one half right now? Where is the other half, and why is it not showing up? Like, why am I dead stopping in Atlanta? Like, where did it go? Like, just because 'cause I'm not gonna make it, like, it was weird. So I ended up canceling my Delta flight, and then I just and it was actually, pretty cheap on miles, to book day of first class because then because I felt bad for myself with the travel frazzle, I put myself in first class because I felt bad for myself. It really wasn't that bad mileage wise to I covered it all in miles. Because I'm trying to, like, just like my Minnie Mouse brooks, like, I don't need it's not a museum. Like, yes, I save miles for a lot of things, but I don't know. It was like 20,000 miles for a one-way first class seat.
Dang.
Yeah, on it was less than I paid for one way on because I booked both my Delta flights one way because I tend to do that when I'm find a good fare, and then when I tend to,
Mhm.
not book them round trip in case I have issues like this. Um, but yeah, no, that was less than I paid for my miles for my, like, one way on Delta in economy. So definitely a little bit of a strange, end to the trip. But it was a little bit of the travel frazzle. And then, once I got through, it was like I got to the airport and, dropped my bags off, had really plenty of time. And I was like just sitting outside of TSA 'Cause I was like, "I don't like, I feel like once I, like, cross that precipice, like, it's over, like, the trip's over." And then I'm like, "Oh, no, but you, like, you need to go. Like, you need to go through security." Um, but, I did not ding my medal, or my medals didn't ding this time, but they did on the way down through Omaha,
Hmm.
which I forgot about until right now. Um, and, I, like, they pull my bag to the side, and, like, the officers who are fantastic, like, very, really nice. And, he's just like, I was like, "It's gotta be that thing." I was like, "These are my race medals," and, like explaining Run Disney to him. Like, I should have just given him a podcast sticker. No, I would not have did that. God. But, like, I'm explaining the concept of, like, what I was like, "Yeah, like, I did all the races in the season, so I'm, bringing them back so I can take pictures with all of them." I was like, "Marathon." And he's like, "Oh, that's really cool." Like, and we're just chit-chatting at, like, 4:40 in the morning, like, as he's looking through, because then he didn't even, like, once he identified that it was that, like, he was, because I had them in their metal cases, so he was able to, like, leaf through, see it was just metals. But that's the first time in a long time my metals have dinged. At They're going through security, but they didn't on the way out of Orlando. But I also made sure I took them out of their cases. I Not out of their cases, but I took the cases out of my carry on,
Mm.
and put them out because I didn't want to deal with that. But they, again, I'm sure Orlando is very, very, very well aware of all the metals coming through security. But yeah, then it was time to go. I did. It was another where I had a little bit longish of a layover in Chicago, so I put myself in the lounge too. Um, Again, we earn miles to use them. I was able to cover that on miles, and then my flight delayed a little bit, about 45 minutes. They were changing a tire on there, where I'm like, "Oh, that's safety related. Please feel free. Please take your. I want to go home, but, like, I want to make it home." Um, so did get home. I very much, but, walking outside to the cold, to get onto the shuttle to get to my car, I was like, "Oh man, ouch." But, all good things. Still made it home before midnight, where my Delta flight set of flights had me getting, I think, landing around midnight, and then those ended up delaying, because then obviously nosy Nelly here was watching the arrivals board. I'm like, basically, like, did I make the right decision? Like, was I just being
Mhm.
impatient? But no, I was in my house by midnight, so that wouldn't have happened. I don't think it was, like, super duper delayed, but it was at least 30 minutes delayed, which then, like, you have to get your bags, you have to drive home. Like, I was happy with my decision to come on home. And now
It was an eventful season close.
it was
It was
shambling in the way you would expect it to be for me.
yeah. I mean, for those who don't know, Natalie and I's sorority family was called the Chambly family, so it's
Yeah, we
very,
were.
very on the nose. And I feel like we experienced the full range of emotions.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had all of our little inside out characters. We had an annoyed. Annoyed is not one of them, but maybe a little disgust, just with, like, the
Yeah.
annoyance of the situation. Because, like, I understand weather happens, mechanical delays happen. It was just, like, the not being able to find out what the heck was going on, and, like, the guy and I are messaging back and forth on the app as I'm waiting for a call back. Right? I'm not like he's like, "I don't know why I can't." I'm like, "I don't know why I can't see this either." And also, then I was put in a middle seat for the 2-hour flight from Atlanta to Omaha, and that just wasn't gonna happen, man. That just wasn't. No, no. Like, I would live, but I would just, no. But yeah, when I saw, like, the flight price, like, because I think even if I booked it on, like, money, it wasn't that bad. But I was like, "Oh, the miles I could use to cover this. Here we go." Uh, they're meant to be used. I've been saving them for quite a while. But yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of the range of the emotions.
Yeah. Well, what a season it has been.
Oh yeah.
For a little change of pace, next week we'll be talking about Animal Kingdom's birthday.
Woo!
And like a whole range of stuff. So if you would like to be a part of the episode, you can submit your own favorite story in Animal Kingdom. Doesn't have to be Run Disney related. Could be. Doesn't have to be though. And we'll be featuring those, talking some history, doing something a little different before we transition into sort of our summer season of content.
Hey, when a park birthday lands on an
Drop
episode
day.
drop day, you gotta do something about it. You gotta do something about it. Like, it's when's that gonna happen again? A long time, actually. I did the math, but then I forgot the math. Uh, it's gonna be a while.
So if you're into that, look forward to it.
Woohoo!
Woo, we'll see you next week. If you enjoy listening to our show, please leave us a review and a 5-star rating. We love reading your reviews out loud, and you might even be featured on a future podcast episode. We have a community spotlight on our Instagram at Stride Sisters Podcast if you want to be featured for a Metal Monday, Finish Line Friday, or any accomplishment you want to celebrate. I want to emphasize that. Any accomplishment. Send us a picture via our social media platforms or our email. And to continue the fun, join us on our Facebook page. All the ways to connect with us can be found in the show notes. Thanks for listening. Until our next adventure, we're wishing you endless miles of magic and memories. See you next time.
Oh, we did some trivia though, in waiting because we were super early, I remember, for our reservation. So we had to have done, I know we went to do something and came back, and I'm trying to think about what that was. Do, 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 do. My phone pictures don't help me with this quest to find what the heck I did. Oh, that's really sad that day. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.